Chapter 199. Sword Chi snakes tore at the four purple-robed martial artists crazily. Lin Xian pushed back two purple-robed martial artists with one sword, and with a suction force, pulled Zhao Shui behind him. "Kid, how dare you obstruct our purple extreme demon palace's work? You don't know how to write the word death." One of the martial artists roared, and suddenly punched out with his right fist. The fist was ferocious, like a tiger pouncing, rushing over with an aura that could destroy everything. Lin Xian stabbed out with his long sword, fast to the extreme. Before the violent fist technique arrived, Lin Xian's long sword had already pierced the opponent. His defense shattered, and the armor on his body was also penetrated. The purple-robed martial artist still maintained his punching posture, but the spirit energy on his body quickly receded. Plop! The purple-robed martial artist fell to the ground, and a bowl-sized sword mark appeared on his chest. Zhao Shui stood behind Lin Xian, watching this scene, and covered her mouth tightly. She didn't expect Lin Xian's sword technique to be so powerful, to be able to kill a martial artist in the 5th tier of the spiritual sea realm with one sword. The remaining 3 people looked terrible. Their purple extreme demon palace had always run amok in Shadow Country, and who would have thought that they would fall at the hands of a kid? "Zilu, Ziqi, the two of you attack together," the middle-aged man in the lead said coldly. "Yes." The 2 youths flanked Lin Xian from the left and right. One sword and one blade, slashing towards Lin Xian. At the same time, a purple glow appeared in the middle-aged man's eyes, and an invisible soul force rushed towards Lin Xian. Seeing the purple glow in the middle-aged man's eyes, Lin Xian's face changed slightly. Without much time to think, he used Purple Spirit Pupil to resist the opponent's soul attack. At the same time, he quickly stabbed out 2 wind fusion techniques. Sword Chi blended into the air silently, and with the support of sword intent, the attack power of the 2 sword Chi reached the extreme. Pooh! Pooh! The 2 martial artists couldn't defend in time, and with a scream, they fell down. "You!" The middle-aged man's face changed. Not only was he surprised by Lin Xian's powerful attack power, but he also stared at Lin Xian's eyes. "You? How did you?" Whoosh! Lin Xian used wind thunder steps and arrived in front of the middle-aged man in an instant. The autumn scar sword in his hand stabbed out continuously. His spiritual energy fluctuated uncontrollably, piercing many holes in the void. Bang! The middle-aged man felt the sharp aura of the sword and did not dare to face it head-on. He could only break through the window and escape. He landed on the ground and prepared to retreat. Lin Xian would not give him a chance at all. He merged his soul power into the ice and performed an offensive saint spell that relied heavily on sword will. Ice Prison. The ice surface shattered, and 4 ice snakes bent their bodies, coiling around the purple-clothed middle-aged man's 4 limbs, and held them tightly. The snake's head hissed, and the cold air quickly spread throughout his body. The purple-robed middle-aged man was shocked. The purple light in his eyes shone brightly, and the spiritual power on his body burned like a flame. Pung pung pung. The ice snake was shattered by the tyrannical power, and the purple-robed middle-aged man quickly escaped. Crack! Just as he moved, a huge ice spear shot out from the ground. Golden lightning circled around the spearhead. "Pierce!" Lin Xian growled. The purple-robed middle-aged man waved his palms, forming a light screen in front of him and blocking the spear. It's just a simplified version of the purple demon pupil. The purple-robed man landed on the ground and snorted. "Today, I'll let you experience the true power of the purple demon pupil." The purple-robed middle-aged man's eyes flickered, and an invisible force pierced towards Lin Xian. Buzz! In an instant, Lin Xian felt his surroundings change. It was as if he had arrived in a strange space. "Strangle!" The purple-robed middle-aged man's voice sounded, and it was erratic. Lin Xian felt that he could not move. Countless sharp blades pierced his chest. "Xiao Xuanzi, this is the spiritual world. Hurry up and escape." Lord Alcohol's voice sounded in Lin Xian's mind. Spiritual world? Lin Xian suddenly realized that he had fallen into a trap. Break! A dragon's roar sounded, and a huge azure dragon bared its fangs and brandished its claws. It turned into a beam of sword light, instantly cutting through everything. Puff! The purple-robed middle-aged man spat out a mouthful of blood, and his body swayed. Impossible. How did you escape? You only have a simplified demonic eye. The purple-robed man had a look of disbelief. Lin Xian's face was pale. He had suffered a mental attack and had almost died. What a strange attack. Lin Xian quickly attacked. Wind Emperor's sword. The power of wind and thunder moved together, and the sword was extremely fast. The purple-robed middle-aged man had just reacted when his body was struck. However, as a leader, his ability was extraordinary. At the critical moment, he forcefully turned his body and avoided the attack. Puff. His chest was pierced. He was severely injured, but it was not fatal. Thunderstrike. Countless golden electric arcs surged out and exploded in the purple-robed man's body. In an instant, he was severely injured. No one can offend the purple extreme demon palace. The purple-robed man's face was ferocious. You will be hunted down endlessly. The cruelest torture in the world awaits you. The purple-robed middle-aged man suddenly ignited all the spiritual energy in his body. His eyes became brighter and brighter, as if two balls of fire were burning. Chi. A purple light attacked Lin Xian as fast as lightning. Lin Xian raised his sword to block, but it was useless. The purple light entered Lin Xian's body and disappeared. Die in fear. The purple-robed man laughed bitterly. Not good. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. His body flashed, and he quickly left. Lin Xian used the wind thunder steps and arrived at the second floor in the blink of an eye. He grabbed Zhao Shui and ran away. Boom. A shocking explosion sounded, and the entire courtyard was filled with dust. The purple-robed man had chosen to self-destruct, leaving nothing behind. Lin Xian quickly brought Zhao Shui out of the city. The two of them found a safe place to rest for a while. Lin Xian's face was gloomy. He realized that he had provoked a group of lunatics. What worried him the most was the purple light that had flown into his body. If he guessed correctly, it should be a marker. However, Lin Xian couldn't find it. Lin Xian asked Lord Alcohol for help. Although Lord Alcohol found it, he couldn't do anything in his current state. Seeing Lin Xian's purple eyes, Zhao Shui screamed in fear. You are from the Purple Demon Palace. She took 2 steps back in fear. Lin Xian's eyes flickered, and they regained their clarity. This is Purple Spirit Eyes, Lin Xian said in a low voice. Zhao Shui also calmed down. Lin Xian killed a disciple of the Purple Demon Palace. They couldn't be in cahoots. I'm sorry. I dragged you into this. It's useless to say that now, Lin Xian said in a low voice. I must have been cast with a secret technique. If you follow me now, it will be more dangerous. Since we're going to be captured anyway, why don't we stick together? We can take care of each other that way. Zhao Shui didn't want to act alone. Do you have a way to remove the mark on me? Lin Xian asked. Zhao Shui shook her head. The Purple Demon Palace's pupil technique is very special. Other than them, no one can remove it. Lin Xian fell into deep thought. According to the purple-robed man's words, it wasn't difficult for him to guess that Purple Spirit Eyes was an imitation of the Purple Demon Eyes. However, compared to the real Purple Demon Eyes, it was much weaker. Ignoring the offensive aspect, he couldn't create such a spiritual space. Even the mark that was placed in his body couldn't be detected by Purple Spirit Eyes. Xiao Xuanzi, there are 2 ways to remove the mark in your body, Lord Alcohol said slowly. Chapter 200. Which 2? Lin Xian asked telepathically. First, advance to a 2nd-grade inscriber. At that time, with your soul power, you should be able to remove it. Second, perhaps that little girl's ancient inscription can give you some inspiration. Lord Alcohol explained the 2 methods. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. Advancing to a 2nd-grade inscriber wasn't something that could be done in a short period of time. However, people from the Purple Demon Palace could appear at any time. If a martial artist at the 6th or 7th level of the Spirit C tier came, Lin Xian and Zhao Shui would be in trouble. Miss Zhao, there might be a way to remove the mark on my body. Are you willing to do it? Lin Xian asked in a deep voice. What is it? Zhao Shui asked. She naturally hoped that Lin Xian would be fine. I wonder if you can let me take a look at your ancient inscription. It might be useful to me. This, Zhao Shui was stunned. Her eyes flashed, and she seemed to be struggling. Wuji Wuji. Just as Lin Xian was waiting, the snow-white monkey suddenly appeared. It scratched its head with its claws, as if it understood Lin Xian's current situation. The snow-white monkey jumped onto Zhao Shui and blinked its black, gem-like eyes. Swish! A white light flashed and something appeared in the monkey's hand. This is? Lin Xian was stunned. The snow-white monkey had sped up again, and he couldn't see it clearly. Zhao Shui was even more surprised and almost cried out. The snow-white monkey grinned and carried the item back to Lin Xian's side. Taking the item from the monkey's hand, Lin Xian looked at it carefully. It was a round stone with a rough surface. On the other side of the stone were engraved an eyeball and scara. It's actually an eyeball. Lin Xian was surprised. He looked at Zhao Shui and saw the latter's shocked face. Could this be the ancient inscription you mentioned? Lin Xian's heart suddenly stirred. Zhao Shui nodded sadly, her expression unnatural. Don't worry, I'll return it to you when I'm done, Lin Xian said in a low voice. Zhao Shui raised her head slightly, her eyes filled with surprise. When ordinary inscription masters encountered such ancient inscriptions, most of them would go crazy. How could they be like Lin Xian, who was so calm that it was terrifying? How could she have known that Lin Xian had too many good things on him? The value of the mysterious small sword and the great dragon sword intent were both above that of the ancient inscription. Placing the stone eyeball in his palm, Lin Xian stared at it. With purple light flashing in his eyes, Lin Xian slowly approached with his soul power. Wong! The stone eyeball suddenly glowed, and a strange rune appeared on its surface. Lin Xian had never seen such a complicated inscription before. It was far beyond his knowledge. He wasn't able to comprehend what it contained at the moment, so he could only temporarily copy the diagram into his mind. After ensuring that his copy was accurate, Lin Xian returned the stone eyeball to Zhao Shui. Zhao Shui carefully caught it and said softly, "You're a good person." Lin Xian smiled bitterly and didn't reply. Instead, he closed his eyes and began to study the ancient inscription he had obtained. It didn't matter if he couldn't understand it. With Lord Alcohol as an inscription master, Lin Xian wasn't worried at all. After passing the ancient inscription to Lord Alcohol, Lin Xian began to cultivate. He took out the ice platform and sat cross-legged on it, then activated the longevity art. His cultivation had already reached the peak of the 3rd tier of the spiritual sea realm. After tonight's battle, he had a feeling that he was about to break through. Zhao Shui felt a chill. She looked at Lin Xian in surprise again, then held the stone eyeball and began to comprehend it. Both of them were trying their best to increase their strength, leaving only the little white monkey rolling on the ground. Fortunately, the little monkey didn't leave this time, nor did it attract a group of people. 2 hours later, Lin Xian's aura became stronger and stronger. Around him, there were 3 layers of wave-like ripples, emitting powerful energy. On top of that, the 4th layer of waves was faintly discernible, emitting an even more powerful energy. Zhao Shui was awakened by this aura. Her mouth opened slightly, and she looked at Lin Xian in disbelief. With her cultivation at the 5th tier of the spiritual sea realm, she actually felt powerless in front of Lin Xian. This wasn't pressure from the aura, but from the quality of their spiritual power. She realized that the quality of Lin Xian's spiritual power was very high, almost not inferior to a martial artist at the 5th tier of the spiritual sea realm. This was all thanks to the longevity art. The quality and quantity of Fairy Lin Xian's spiritual power were equivalent to a martial artist at the 5th tier of the spiritual sea realm, and his strength was equivalent to a martial artist at the 6th tier of the spiritual sea realm. Boom! A majestic aura spread out like a wave, blowing away all the snow in the surroundings. Lin Xian slowly opened his eyes, which shone brightly. He felt that his entire body was filled with power. He could now compete with a martial artist at the 6th tier of the spiritual sea realm. Congratulations to Lin Gongzi for breaking through, Zhao Shui said from the side. Thank you, Lin Xian said lightly. He wasn't too surprised. To him, breaking through was a matter of time. Rest. We'll head to the Fire Province tomorrow. Zhao Shui nodded and began to comprehend again. The night was silent. On the 2nd day, Lin Xian and Zhao Shui set off early. The two used their lightness techniques, and quickly shuttled through Lin Xian. Half a day later, they left the Snow Province. Not long after they left, a few people in purple came to the small courtyard where Lin Xian used to live. It was already a flat ground, with only some debris left. The aura of these three people in purple was very powerful, far from what the previous few people could compare to. You dare to kill people from the Purple Demon Palace. Even if you escape to the ends of the earth, we'll catch you and let you taste all the torture in the world. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The three turned into purple shadows and disappeared from the spot. Green Province, a vast mountain. Lin Xian and Zhao Shui subdued two demon tigers and used them as mounts. They quickly traversed through Lin Xian. Lin Xian held a map of China and said, "After passing through this forest, we'll reach the Fire Province. This is the fastest path." "Then let's speed up." Zhao Shui was a little anxious. The two demon tigers transformed into a demonic wind as they constantly advanced. Along the way, the two of them were silent as they cultivated separately. "Xiao Xuanzi, I've taken a look at the ancient inscriptions. I've roughly divided them into two types." Lord Alcohol said slowly. "The first type is soul absorption. It can create an attack like a mental space. The second type is soul fire. It's very powerful, but it's also very dangerous. I think that Stone Eyeball died because it used too much soul fire." Lin Xian communicated with Lord Alcohol through their souls. He realized that Lord Alcohol had divided the ancient inscriptions into several simplified inscriptions. He knew that Lord Alcohol had specially modified it for him. As his realm wasn't high enough, it was too difficult for him to understand. After diverting a wisp of his mind to control the demon tiger, Lin Xian began studying the inscriptions given by Lord Alcohol. Originally, he couldn't understand the ancient inscriptions at all, but now, he could completely understand them. Furthermore, he knew why the Purple Demon Palace wanted to snatch these inscriptions. If he wasn't wrong, the Purple Demon Palace's eye technique should be similar to the one displayed by the Stone Eyeball. He even suspected that there was a connection between the two. Chapter 201. It had to be said that Lord Alcohol was too powerful. He could actually evolve so many ocular attacks from an ancient inscription. Lin Xian was very interested in the soul fire. He realized that Lord Alcohol had split the soul fire's attack into two inscriptions. One was an attack on the body, while the other was an attack on the soul. Clearly, the attack on the soul was more dangerous. According to Lord Alcohol, the soul fire would transform into a ball of flames that would burn the opponent to ashes. However, the flames were very domineering and would also damage one's eyes. Soul fire. Lin Xian kept repeating. Can it be transformed into a soul sword? After all, I have the great dragon sword intent. It would be a pity if I didn't use it, Lin Xian asked. In theory, yes, but it seems more dangerous, Lord Alcohol said slowly. Lord Alcohol said slowly, practice the first inscription first. Let me think about this sort of soul. In the following days, Lin Xian began to comprehend the first inscription. Purple light flickered in his eyes and gradually formed an inscription, but it quickly dissipated. Lin Xian wasn't angry. He knew that this ocular technique couldn't be learned in a day. He had to practice diligently. 3 days later, a strange inscription appeared in Lin Xian's right eye, emitting a mysterious aura. In the distance, a goshawk flew past. Lin Xian aimed his right eye at the goshawk and his soul power vibrated. Buzz. He seemed to see the goshawk's soul being pulled into an independent mental space, and he was the master of this space. In an instant, the goshawk in the sky froze and fell straight down. Go. Lin Xian canceled the mental space and released the goshawk soul. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 10-meter-long goshawk spread its wings and quickly fled. Lin Xian slowly exhaled. He had just mastered the mental space and could only maintain it for 3 breaths of time. However, as his soul power increased, the duration would increase. Furthermore, his mental space would become more complete. In about 2 days, we will reach the fire state. Zhao Shui quickly said when she saw Lin Xian wake up. When she saw that Lin Xian's eye technique had improved once again, she was greatly shocked. One had to know that she had been comprehending it for such a long time, but she had only scratched the surface. Lin Xian, on the other hand, seemed to know more than she did. Roar! Suddenly, a roar came from afar, shaking the surroundings into silence. The demon tiger that Lin Xian was sitting on trembled, as if it had also been frightened. Lin Xian was flabbergasted. These two demon tigers were fourth-rank demonic beasts, and as tigers, they were the kings of all beasts. But now, a single roar had actually caused their bodies to tremble. One could only imagine how powerful the demonic beast in the distance was. Zhao Shui seemed to be aware of the danger too. She said coquettishly, "Let's go around." Lin Xian nodded and was about to agree. Suddenly, the snow-white little monkey rushed out and gestured at Lin Xian. "Are you saying there are treasures?" Lin Xian's face lit up. The last time the snow-white little monkey had such an expression was when he obtained the frost platform and the mysterious ice aura. Woo-woo-woo. The snow-white little monkey bared its teeth, and its gem-like eyes narrowed into crescents. "Let's go and take a look." Lin Xian called out to Zhao Shui. "Lin Gongzi, let's not go. Let's reach Dragon Cliff City earlier." Zhao Shui's face was filled with worry. "I came out this time to gain experience. Moreover, there are still 2.5 months before the Battle of the Inscription Tower. There is enough time." Lin Xian did not stop. Instead, he controlled the demon tiger and ran in the direction of the roar. Zhao Shui gritted her teeth and could only follow quickly. Although there were many demonic beasts in the forest, some of the weaker ones were all stunned when they saw the two demon tiger. As for the stronger ones, Lin Xian and Zhao Shui could rely on their outstanding soul power to avoid them. Therefore, the two of them had a very smooth journey. Roar! Another earth-shattering roar sounded, as if countless bolts of lightning had struck down. Lin Xian seemed to feel the restlessness of the golden electric arcs in his body, and a trace of doubt appeared in his heart. Could it be related to lightning? Lin Xian guessed. Then all the more we can't miss it. The closer they got to the roar, the slower the two demon tigers' speed became. In the end, the two demon tigers simply stopped moving. Their bodies lay on the ground, trembling non-stop. To be able to cause such an effect, it was at least a rank 5 demonic beast. That was equivalent to a martial artist in the 7th layer of the spiritual C tier. Zhao Shui's face was filled with worry. "Lin Gongzi, are we still going?" "Yes, I feel that there is a treasure there. Moreover, that thing seems to be fated with me," Lin Xian said. Zhao Shui looked at Lin Xian in surprise. Her beautiful eyes filled with surprise. "It said it. I'm just translating." Lin Xian pointed at the snow-white monkey with a smile on his face. The snow-white monkey sat on Lin Xian's shoulder, crossed its legs, and supported its chin with its paws, nodding seriously. Zhao Shui's mouth twitched, and her expression was very unnatural. She realized that Lin Xian and the monkey were both freaks. The two of them and the monkey abandoned the demon tiger and quickly ran forward. In the distance, a faint pressure came, causing Lin Xian and Zhao Shui's souls to tremble. What a terrifying demonic aura! This aura far surpasses a rank 5 demonic beast. Zhao Shui's heart was still beating fast. At this point, she also had a trace of curiosity in her heart. "Did you notice that the air is filled with the aura of lightning?" Lin Xian had golden lightning in his body, and his senses were even sharper. Zhao Shui's soul moved, and after sensing for a while, her face was full of agreement. There is indeed the aura of lightning, and its grade is very high. Could it be a lightning beast in front? The two of them used their soul power to cover their bodies, and not a trace of aura leaked out. They were both rank 1 inscriptionists, and it was easy for them to do this. The snow-white monkey also quietened down, and lay on Lin Xian's shoulder. "Let's go," Lin Xian whispered. Whoosh, whoosh. The two of them turned into afterimages and rushed forward like leopards. Crack. After advancing for a distance, Lin Xian found that the surrounding branches had a trace of lightning aura. It must be a lightning beast, but I don't know what kind it is. The two of them confirmed again. Finally, the two of them were getting closer to the lightning beast. Moreover, they also found other people. Lin Xian's soul power spread out, and his eyes flashed as he looked into the distance. It's them. Suddenly, he exclaimed softly, as if he had found something interesting. The group of people in front was none other than the Tsang family of Qing State. There were about 50 of them scattered in front. Lin Xian thought for a while and understood. The Tsang family's martial arts were related to lightning, so it was not surprising that they would appear here. There is a group of people in the east, about 50 of them. Zhao Shui said. The west side is about the same, and those people are my old enemies. Lin Xian said slowly. What should we do? Zhao Shui asked. Since we are here, of course we can't go back empty-handed. Lin Xian smiled. But there are so many of them. We are no match for them. Zhao Shui's face was full of worry, and I can feel the aura of a harmonious spirit expert. Chapter 202. Zhao Shui's worries were reasonable. A harmonious spirit expert was able to control the spirit energy of an area. It was not something a Sea of Soul Realm warrior could handle. Of course, we won't be its match if we fight it head-on. However, it will be chaotic if we hunt it down. Lin Xian said with a smile, if we are careful, we will have a chance. Moreover, we don't have to fight. If there is any danger, we can just leave. That's the only way. Zhao Shui sighed. If it wasn't for Lin Xian, she wouldn't have dared to take such a risk. Lin Xian and Zhao Shui retreated carefully. There was no need for them to show their faces. Only when the two sides started fighting would they have the chance to take action. To the west of Lin Xian's group, a group of warriors gathered together. These warriors were from the Tsang family. Their auras were as strong as the ocean, unfathomable. One of them was the Tsang family's great elder. His aura was restrained and his eyes were closed as if he was asleep. Report. The Tsang family disciple came from afar. Swoosh. The Tsang family's great elder opened his eyes. His gaze was like a divine sword that could pierce through a person. Great elder, the thunder beast is still dormant in the cave and hasn't come out yet. The warrior said quickly. Many people from the Yang family came as well. The leader seems to be the Yang family's patriarch. Yang family? The Tsang family's great elder's eyes flashed. Send someone to keep an eye on them. If there is any movement, report it immediately. Also, we must get the thunder source this time. Yes. Everyone's heart trembled. Their Tsang family had suffered too many setbacks recently. Not only were the younger generation injured, even the great elder was injured. The one who caused all of this was a guy called Lin Xian. Originally, they wanted to catch Lin Xian after the snow-seeking sect's great assembly, but who would have thought that he had already slipped away? Fortunately, the heavens were kind to the Tsang family. They found a thunder python that was shedding its skin. Originally, a 7th-rank monster's strength was equivalent to a spirit-detecting realm expert. However, the thunder python couldn't display its full strength during the shedding. It was only at the harmonious spirit realm. As long as they were well prepared, the opportunity would be theirs. They didn't need to kill the thunder python, they just needed to get the python skin. Although it was old, it contained endless power of thunder and lightning. It was absolutely a top-quality thunder source. While the Tsang family was preparing, the Yang family was also rubbing their fists in anticipation. Monitor the surroundings, don't let the news leak out. The Yang family patriarch issued an order. The Tsang family suffered heavy losses this time. Not only did they lose an elder at the 7th layer of the spiritual ocean tier, their head elder was even injured. At this time, they still want to compete with us? What a joke. The Yang family had sneered. As long as we can obtain the thunder source, our Yang family can surpass the Tsang family. Perhaps we can even become the overlord of the Qing province. A day later, the disciples of the Tsang and Yang families began to seal the mountain, not allowing anyone to enter this area. Lin Xian and Zhao Shui did not know that the mountain had been sealed off. They had discovered a strange type of grass in a valley. It was about the size of a palm and shaped like a bolt of lightning. It was completely silver gray in color and contained a dense amount of lightning energy. This is thunder grass, Zhao Shui exclaimed. It only grew in places with abundant lightning. She did not expect to see it here. There were dozens of thunder grass growing in the entire valley. The violent power of thunder and lightning connected together to form a net of electricity. Just as Lin Xian and Zhao Shui were about to collect it, the martial artists of the Tsang family and Yang family also found this place. The martial artists of the two families were wary of each other and looked at the thunder grass in the valley at the same time. Brat, it's you. Immediately, a martial artist of the Tsang family recognized Lin Xian. The heavens have indeed treated our Tsang family well. A few martial artists of the Tsang family walked up with a sinister smile. Brat, accept your death obediently. Can you deal with those few? Lin Xian looked at Zhao Shui. No problem. Zhao Shui nodded in agreement. Her strength had been increasing rapidly these days. Attack together. Be careful of his sword intent. The martial artists of the Tsang family were not careless and chose to attack together. Rushing Thunder Fist. Wild Thunder Blade. In an instant, various attacks were launched at Lin Xian, forming a sea of lightning. Swoosh. Lin Xian used Wind Thunder Steps and quickly dodged the attacks. Then, his eyes flashed with a purple light. In particular, an inscription appeared in his right eye. Buzz. The two martial artists of the Tsang family stiffened as if they had lost their souls. Puff puff. Sword light flashed and two heads flew, spraying blood in the air. What? The three martial artists of the Tsang family were shocked. They did not know what had happened. However, in the next moment, an invisible soul wave attacked them. The three of them felt their bodies tremble, as if their souls were being sucked away. The light dimmed, and the three of them found themselves in a space the size of a house. Their hands and feet were tightly cuffed, and they could not move. Countless sharp sword rays surged out from all directions and pierced through them. Ah! The three of them screamed in pain and twitched continuously. However, they found that they were not dead. A white light flashed and their bodies recovered. Then, countless blades looked at them. They did not know how many times they had experienced this, but in reality, it was just a blink of an eye. Puff, puff, puff. The long sword swept across, and the crescent-shaped sword light cut the three of them in half. Lin Xian kept his long sword and turned to look at the other side. There, Zhao Shui stood with a smile on her face. The six martial artists in front of her had flushed faces and were attacking each other crazily. Soon, all of them fell. What a powerful illusion! Lin Xian praised. Zhao Shui smiled sweetly. Her eyes seemed to be able to steal a man's soul. Compared to Lin Gongzi, I am far behind. Lin Xian was not affected at all. He smiled faintly and turned around. These thundergrass are useful to me. I want 70%. Zhao Shui nodded in agreement. Firstly, she was not a lightning-type martial artist. Secondly, she still needed Lin Xian's protection. Getting 30% was already good enough. Lin Xian's hand flashed with golden electric arcs, forming a small shovel. With a wave of his arm, a stalk of thundergrass was dug out. In a moment, he had already dug out 14 stalks. The remaining 6 stalks were taken by Zhao Shui. Did you get any useful information? Lin Xian asked. He just got some information from the Tsang family's martial artists. There was information about the Tsang family and the Thunder Beast, but there was nothing about the Yang family. Zhao Shui nodded and said softly that Thunder Beast is a 7th-rank Thunder Python. Because it is shedding, it is in a weak state. Its strength is around the harmonious spirit realm. As for the Yang family, a total of 73 people came. 1 harmonious spirit realm, 5 7th-level spirit sea realm martial artists, 12 6th-level spirit sea realm martial artists, and the rest are below the 6th level. After saying this, she looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian smiled faintly. Regarding the Thunder Beast, I got the same information as you. The Tsang family's strength is about the same as the Yang family. 1 harmonious spirit realm, 6 7th-level spirit sea realm martial artists, and 10 6th-level spirit sea realm martial artists. However, according to what I know, the Tsang family's harmonious spirit realm martial artist was injured not long ago. He shouldn't be at his peak strength. We only need to wait until they are busy fighting and steal the Thunder Source. Chapter 203. Perhaps only Lin Xian had the guts to snatch food between 2 harmonious spirit experts and 7th-grade demonic beasts. According to the information I received, the Thunder Python has yet to shed its skin. It will probably take a few days. It's best if we can increase our strength to the next level. Lin Xian and Zhao Shui decided to cultivate in the valley while waiting for the Tsang and Yang families to make their move. Holding the thundergrass in his hand, Lin Xian felt a surge of lightning energy. Just a few spiritual grasses already have such power. I wonder how powerful the thunder source will be? Lin Xian was excited. As long as he could obtain the thunder source, his strength would increase once again. This was the only way to reduce the gap between him and Lin Feng. Lightning surged around his body as he started to absorb the lightning energy from the thundergrass. The blue lightning collided with the golden lightning in Lin Xian's body, creating a thunderous sound. The surrounding lightning arcs were like spiritual snakes, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. Fine cracks appeared on the stone he was sitting on. Lin Xian's mind moved, and the ice platform appeared beneath his feet. Sitting cross-legged on the platform, he closed his eyes and started to absorb the lightning energy. After the time it takes to burn an incense stick, the thundergrass in Lin Xian's hands started to wither as all the lightning energy was absorbed. He did not stop there. He immediately took out a second thundergrass and continued to refine it. 2 hours later, the 5 thundergrass were completely consumed. Lin Xian opened his eyes. Crackle. Following his awakening, a powerful aura gradually filled the air. Lightning snakes danced in the air and flew in all directions. With Lin Xian as the center, the area within a radius of 20 meters was like a sea of lightning. In the distance, Zhao Shui was shocked. In such a short time, Lin Xian's strength had increased again. This guy, his speed of improvement is too fast. Zhao Shui muttered softly. She even suspected that Lin Xian was not a teenager, but was possessed by an old man. Zhao Shui kept the stone eyeball and prepared to stand up. However, Lin Xian sat down again. Zhao Shui was speechless. Is he going to continue cultivating? What a freak. According to her estimation, Lin Xian must be a special existence in China. Even in the Shadow Country, there were not many people like Lin Xian. There was a reason why Lin Xian sat down again. It was because Lord Alcohol wanted to teach him a body-tempering martial art. Thunder Tattoo Body, Lin Xian murmured, a trace of movement in his eyes. This Thunder Mark Body is an Earth-tier martial skill. After mastering it, one will be invulnerable to swords and spears, water and fire. It can be said to be a body-refining precious skill. Lord Alcohol slowly said, there are a total of 3 stages. They are the Copper Lightning Pattern, Silver Lightning Pattern, and Gold Lightning Pattern. With your current strength, being able to cultivate the Copper Thunder Rune is already not bad. Lin Xian suppressed the joy in his heart and began cultivating according to Lord Alcohol's instructions. According to Lord Alcohol, even the Copper Lightning Pattern was equivalent to a high-grade spirit-ranked body-tempering martial art. Streaks of copper lightning appeared on the surface of his body, forming strange lightning patterns. The lightning patterns flickered and quickly disappeared. Lin Xian gave up on his entire body and gathered all the lightning on his right hand. The sea of lightning churned, constantly attacking the meridians in his arm. At the same time, countless lightning patterns formed on the surface of his body. Half a day later, the lightning disappeared. A layer of copper patterns appeared on Lin Xian's right hand, emitting a powerful force. After putting away the frost platform, Lin Xian jumped to the ground and punched the ground. Bam! With a loud bang, lightning spewed out. Lin Xian's entire arm faintly glowed. With a boom, his fist smashed into the ground, instantly creating a huge hole. Terrifying cracks spread out in all directions like a spider web. The valley shook incessantly as though an earthquake had occurred. Zhao Shui was jolted awake once again as she stared blankly ahead. With Lin Xian as the center, the ground within a 50-meter radius cracked into countless pieces and sunk in. The power of a single strike was so terrifying. Lin Xian let out a satisfied smile. The copper lightning patterns on his arm disappeared, and he became no different from a normal person. Now, even a martial artist at the 4th sky of the spiritual sea realm would not be able to block one of his punches. Lin Xian felt the energy in his body and was in a good mood. With a tap of his feet, he came in front of Zhao Shui. Let's go and check out the situation. Zhao Shui nodded blankly and followed behind Lin Xian. The two of them used their soul power to scan the surrounding terrain and plan out many escape routes. Also, they found that the Tsang and Yang families had set up arrays to control the Thunder Python. In the following days, Lin Xian and Zhao Shui were either cultivating in the valley or checking out the situation. In the blink of an eye, 5 days had passed. On Lin Xian's right arm, the lightning patterns were even more concentrated. Now, with one punch, he could shatter the ground within a 70-meter radius. A martial artist at the fourth sky of the spiritual sea realm was nothing in front of him. Even a martial artist at the fifth sky of the spiritual sea realm might not be able to block one of his punches. Rumble. The sky darkened and countless black clouds floated by and gathered in the sky. In an instant, day turned into night. The black clouds pressed down on the mountain, making people feel depressed. Within the clouds, lightning flashed from time to time. As if a thunder dragon was rolling in the clouds, a terrifying aura spread in all directions. Within a 100-mile radius, all the demonic beasts were lying on the ground, their bodies trembling. Is it starting? Lin Xian looked at the sky and took a deep breath. Let's go. The two of them flashed and quickly left the valley. At the same time, the Tsang and Yang families started to move. Many martial artists stood in the array, waiting nervously. The Tsang family head elder and the Yang family head both looked serious as they stared at the lightning in the sky and the figure in the cave. Boom! A bolt of lightning struck down like a heavenly blade, flattening the entire mountain. A terrifying sound spread in all directions and countless rocks scattered in the air. Everyone's pupils shrank. It was too terrifying. In front of the vast power of heaven and earth, everything seemed so small. A large part of the 1,000-meter-tall mountain was shaved off, revealing the situation in the cave. A 100-meter-long thunder python appeared in front of everyone's eyes. It was wrapped in blue electric arcs and its body was constantly twisting, as if it was in great pain. Roar! A roar came from the sea of lightning. It sounded like a dragon's roar, but also like thunder. Everyone felt their eardrums tremble and their blood boil. The thunder beast's roar almost injured them. In the distance, 3 people in purple were running quickly behind Lin Xian. Suddenly, they stopped and raised their heads to look at the distant sky. There, dark clouds covered the sky and lightning flashed. The 3 of them were from the Purple Extreme Demon Palace. They looked at each other. According to the data, the target is under the dark clouds. Let's go and take a look. The 3 of them turned into 3 purple lights and rushed toward the dark clouds. Under the dark clouds, the 100-meter-long thunder python roared again. Then, a thin crack appeared on its head. An even thicker demonic aura came out from it. Chapter 204. That aura was frightening. It had even surpassed the harmonious spirit realm. Fortunately, the thunder python was in a weakened state throughout the entire molting process and for a long period of time after. Otherwise, no one in the entire Xia kingdom would dare to have any ideas about it. The crack on the thunder python's head grew bigger, as if it was being torn apart by an invisible force. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. With his outstanding eye power, he could see that the thunder python's new skin was very strange. Lightning flashed on it, making it look like a lightning lake. As expected of a mutated beast, every time it metamorphoses, it will become stronger. Lin Xian praised in his heart. Do you think metamorphosis is so easy? Lord Alcohol snorted. If you can't withstand the lightning tribulation, you will die. Demonic beasts were much more dangerous than humans when it came to cultivation. Lin Xian was speechless as he raised his head to look at the lightning clouds in the sky. Rumble. As if responding to Lord Alcohol's words, a lightning bolt as thick as a bucket struck down, splitting the sky in half. The huge lightning bolt struck the thunder python's body as if it was going to destroy the world. The entire mountain peak was blasted apart, turning into a flat land. The 100-meter-long thunder python roared towards the sky as a layer of protective lightning appeared on its body. The Tsang and Yang families' warriors retreated, afraid that they would be affected. The 2 harmonious spirit realm experts also had cold expressions on their faces. They were extremely nervous. Don't be distracted. Focus on comprehending the power of heaven and earth. Lord Alcohol shouted. Lin Xian's body trembled as he stared at the scene in front of him. Compared to the lightning tribulation, his lightning technique was like child's play. Pushing his soul force to the limit, Lin Xian used all his strength to capture the lightning tribulation and the thunder python's movements. Zhao Shui's heart trembled when she saw this scene. While others were worried about their lives, this fellow was actually comprehending martial arts. She wasn't Lin Xian, so she didn't dare to stay too close. She could only find a safe place to hide. The lightning bolts struck faster and faster. In the end, a few bolts would strike together, forming a curtain of lightning. The thunder python's entire head had successfully molted. Its house-sized head emitted a terrifying aura. Roar! It opened its mouth and spat out lightning, forming a net of lightning that covered the sky. The sky full of lightning struck the electric net, forming a terrifying shockwave. Lin Xian stared at the bolts of lightning one after another, feeling the violent aura within them and verifying it with his own martial arts. The speed at which the thunder python shed its skin was extremely slow. Everyone could only wait anxiously. When it had retreated halfway, 3 powerful auras suddenly came from behind the forest. Oh no! Zhao Shue's expression changed as she rushed to Lin Xian's side. They are from the Purple Demon Palace. Zhao Shue had no choice but to interrupt Lin Xian. Spreading out his soul power, Lin Xian sensed it, and then his face sank. Now is not the time to expose ourselves. Come with me. Lin Xian's body swayed as he ran towards the thunder python. You're crazy. Zhao Shue's face turned pale with fright. Seeing that Lin Xian's figure was about to disappear, she could only grit her teeth and follow. When he was 2 kilometers away from the thunder python, Lin Xian stopped and looked for a cave. Here, the pressure from the lightning above them was even greater. Zhao Shue followed behind Lin Xian in fear, not even daring to breathe. Lord Alcohol, can you temporarily weaken the mark on my body? Lin Xian asked with a voice transmission. Perhaps you can try using the mystic ice chi, Lord Alcohol said in a deep voice. Lin Xian turned his head and said to Zhao Shue, Stay away from me. What? Zhao Shue didn't understand what Lin Xian meant. However, she quickly retreated in horror. Lin Xian's body instantly turned green as a gust of cold air emanated from his body. Layers of blue ice formed on his body, and the cold air quickly spread, turning the entire cave into a world of ice and snow. It's so cold. Zhao Shue had no choice but to circulate all her spiritual energy. There was only one explanation for Lin Xian's change. He was suppressing the mark in his body so that the people from the Purple Demon Palace couldn't find it. In the forest outside, 3 martial artists in purple suddenly frowned. The target's aura suddenly weakened, and so did the mark in his body. One of the martial artists in purple said, Could he have removed the mark? Another martial artist was puzzled. Impossible. Other than us from the Purple Demon Palace, no one can remove the mark. Stop guessing. Let's go and take a look. The leading young man said in a deep voice. The 3 of them sped up and rushed over. Swoosh. Moments later, the 3 martial artists in purple arrived at a mountain peak. Seeing the lightning in the distance fall like a heavenly blade and the terrifying 100-meter-long lightning beast, the 3 martial artists in purple trembled. What a terrifying lightning tribulation. It's actually a thunder python. Its outer skin is a supreme-grade lightning source. The 3 of them were burning with passion and forgot to check Lin Xian's location. Actually, the 3 of them couldn't be blamed. Even a spirit harmonious expert would covet it, let alone them. Let's confirm the target's location first. The leading young man calmed down and said in a deep voice. The eyes of the 2 behind him flashed as they began to sense. After a few breaths, the 2 shook their heads slightly. We can only sense that he's nearby, but we can't confirm his exact location. It seems that he used some method to temporarily hide the mark. Another martial artist said, What should we do now? The 2 asked. Since the target is here, we'll wait here. The leading young man smiled evilly. Not to mention there's such a supreme-grade lightning source. If we're lucky, we might be able to get one. At that time, we'll be rich. The other 2 were also excited. The 3 of them stared at the thunder python in the distance closely. The Tsang family and the Yang family naturally noticed the martial artists in purple. The Tsang family's head elder and the Yang family's head sent out a group of people to clear the area. The 2 groups of people, each led by a 6th sky of Spirit Sea Realm martial artist, quickly rushed to the vicinity of the martial artists in purple and surrounded them. Where did this trash come from? Get lost. The Tsang family's disciple shouted coldly. You three, since you've discovered the secret, then die. The Yang family's people were also full of killing intent. The two groups of people quickly attacked. At such a crucial moment, they didn't want any accidents to happen. Lightning surged and sword chi swept across. Plop, plop. In the blink of an eye, more than half of the Tsang family and Yang family's disciples fell. Those people's faces were filled with terror, their eyes round as if they saw something terrifying. What? The 2-6 Sky of Spirit Sea Realm martial artists were shocked and stared cautiously at the three martial artists in purple. Who the hell are you people? They didn't even notice how the people in purple attacked. It's eye technique. The Yang family's martial artist cried out, his expression very grave. The Tsang family's martial artist's body shook. He noticed that a purple light appeared in the eyes of the three martial artists in purple, which was abnormally demonic. Humph. Die for me. The Tsang family's 6 Sky of Spirit Sea Realm martial artist punched out. Powerful spirit energy surged, condensing into a lightning tiger that pounced at the three people with bared fangs and brandished claws. You two deal with the other one, the leading young man said coldly. The three people's bodies swayed, narrowly avoiding the attack. The purple light in their eyes turned, and the leading young man looked at the Tsang family's 6 Sky of Spirit Sea Realm martial artist. Chapter 205. Purple light flashed, and a vortex appeared in the purple-clothed youth's eyes, extremely demonic. The Tsang family's martial artist at the 6th layer of the spiritual ocean tier stiffened, and confusion appeared in his eyes. His expression was one of struggle, as if he was drowning. Pooh! A purple light lit up, and the purple-clothed youth waved his long saber, splitting the Tsang family's martial artist in half. On the other side, the Yang family's martial artist's eyes also bulged, and he fell down unwillingly. Humph! A bunch of trash. A purple-clothed man sneered. Tsang family's great elder and Yang family's patriarch both saw this scene. Their expressions changed drastically, and they stared at the three purple-robed men, seemingly thinking about something. Could it be Shadow Country's Purple Extreme Demon Palace? Tsang family's great elder's voice was low. Call everyone back, and don't provoke those three. For a moment, both families issued the same order. This action was tacitly acknowledging the existence of the three purple-robed men. It seemed that in their eyes, Purple Extreme Demon Palace was not to be provoked. Lin Xian and Zhao Shui, who were hiding in the cave, also sensed this scene. Lin Xian's entire body was covered in ice, and no changes could be seen. But Zhao Shui's expression was very ugly. A martial artist at the 6th layer of the spiritual ocean tier was easily dealt with. So how powerful were those three people? In the sky, lightning kept falling, and it was getting more and more intense. Half of the thunder python's skin had already fallen off, and new leather armor circulated with lightning, shining brightly. He spat out a lightning curtain, blocking the lightning in the sky. Even so, it was still heavily injured. Roar! The lower half of its body was charred black, and there were bloody holes in some places. Lightning jumped on it, crazily tearing open the wounds. Rumble! The lightning in the sky kept striking, and the surroundings became a sea of lightning. The thunder python's body rolled, and its long tail twitched, creating deep pits in the ground. On its head, a protrusion gradually grew, like a horn. It evolved. Everyone was shocked, staring blankly at this scene. That protrusion kept growing, and finally became a silver horn, about half a meter long. Although it looked weak, the aura on it seemed to be able to crush everything. Like a thunder sword, it was going to pierce the heavens. Rumble! The dark clouds in the sky churned and spun continuously, forming a huge black vortex. From the center of the vortex, a silver arc of electricity appeared. As soon as the silver electric arc appeared, the sky seemed to be unable to bear it and was about to split open. Boom! Silver lightning descended, illuminating half of the sky. The surrounding mountain peaks were all shattered, and violent winds blew within 1,000 meters. The momentum was extremely terrifying. The thunder python was the first to bear the brunt of the attack. It let out a miserable cry as it was struck by the silver flash. The whole process lasted for the time it took for an incense stick to burn before it slowly disappeared. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. They were worried. This level of lightning was very likely to cause everything below to cease to exist. He couldn't have been struck to death, right? Everyone from the Tsang family was puzzled. It's even better if he's dead. As long as the thunder source is still here, we won't have come here in vain. The Tsang family's great elder clenched his fists. The huge whirlpool in the sky slowly dissipated. The black clouds drifted away, and the sky returned to normal. Everyone impatiently looked forward and saw the 100-meter-long thunder python weakly raising its head in the midst of the ruins. Its silver horn was shining brightly. Everyone's heart tightened as they looked at the old skin that was peeling off. In the ruins, there was a large piece of shining scales that looked like blue crystals. Great, it's fine. Everyone was relieved when they saw that the thunder source was fine. However, in the next moment, the weak thunder python opened its mouth and bit the outer layer that was peeling off. Attack! The Tsang family and Yang family ordered at the same time. Everyone rushed forward. The 3 purple-clothed warriors also turned into 3 rays of purple light and rushed toward the thunder python. Zhao Shui was worried. She didn't move but looked at Lin Xian instead. Crack! Crack! The cold air on Lin Xian's body weakened a little. The ice and snow on his head had melted. Let them fight first. It's not that easy to get the thunder source, Lin Xian said in a low voice. Okay. Zhao Shui nodded and carefully probed. The 2 harmonious spirit experts from the Tsang family and the Yang family were at the forefront. Both of them flew in the sky, and their powerful aura swept across the area. Set up the formation. The Tsang family's great elder and the Yang family's patriarch shouted at the same time. Boom! Bang! On the ground, hundreds of warriors quickly set up the formation. A terrifying aura spread out. On the Tsang family's side, the 6-star thunder formation flashed. A 50-meter-long thunderbird flew out from the formation and screeched toward the sky. On the other side, the Yang family waved their flags. Countless heat waves surged and the ground trembled. A stone man covered in fire stood up from the ground. Roar! The thunder python roared. Lightning overflowed from its body, shattering everything around it. The 3 giants looked at each other with hostility and attacked one after another. The thunder python's mountain-like tail whipped at the stone man covered in fire. Its big mouth bit at the thunderbird in the sky. The 3 collided with each other like a meteor crashing into the ground, creating an earth-shattering sound. The whole forest was trembling. Lightning and fire intertwined, forming 3 light pillars that shot up to the sky. The warriors who were controlling the formation trembled and vomited blood. At this moment, the 2 harmonious spirit experts made their move. A gigantic hand with lightning crackling on it grabbed at the thunder crystal beside the thunder python. On the other side, a long spear turned into a fire dragon and stabbed out. Roar! The thunder python felt the danger and stood up. It had just gone through a lightning tribulation and was very weak. However, these despicable humans were not only strong, they could also set up a formation. The silver horn on his head suddenly spun with silver light, forming circle after circle of lightning patterns. A silver-white energy ball appeared on the horn and gradually grew bigger until it was the size of a millstone. A trace of lightning tribulation aura spread out, causing everyone's heart to beat faster. Bang! The thunder python's huge head turned. A beam of light burst out from the energy ball like a lightning blade, sweeping across everything. Boom! Boom! The thunderbird in the sky had one of its wings cut off. The stone man covered in fire was cut in half at the waist. The 2 harmonious spirit realm warriors ran away as fast as they could. However, the warriors below were not so lucky. All of them were drowned in the lightning. Bastard! You're courting death. The Tsang family's great elder and the Yang family's patriarch were furious. The warriors below were the elites of their families. Some of them were very young, and some of them had great potential. They were all talents that could be the pillars of their families. But now, they died so tragically. The spiritual energy in their bodies surged as they attacked the thunder python fiercely. Old Yang, let's kill this bastard together. The Tsang family's great elder gritted his teeth. He had decided to join forces with the Yang family. All right. The Yang family's patriarch's body was surrounded by flames. His long spear slashed down like a long blade. A great battle broke out. The two men and the beast fought together, overturning the whole forest. The ice on Lin Xian's body disappeared. His aura surged and his eyes shone brightly. It's time. The corner of his mouth slightly raised. Chapter 206. The Tsang family's great elder and Yang family's patriarch were truly enraged this time. They attacked the thunder python crazily. The fiery red spear and the huge lightning palm covered the sky, hitting the thunder python's body with a buzzing sound. The thunder python felt the pain and counterattacked. At the same time, it used its thick tail to attack. With this attack, a large amount of thunder crystals fell to the ground. The Tsang family's great elder and Yang family's patriarch attacked at the same time. Boom! The thunder python's skin was broken and scattered in all directions. Looking at the torn thunder crystal, Lin Xian's eyes were burning with passion. Hide yourselves well, Lin Xian instructed before dashing out at top speed. Behind him, Zhao Shui gritted her teeth and chose to stay in the cave. Although the thunder crystal was a good thing, it was too dangerous outside. Not only were there harmonious spirit realm experts, there were also people from the Purple Demon Palace. Moreover, Zhao Shui was not a lightning-type warrior. Although the thunder crystal was precious, it was not as precious as her life. Lin Xian was not surprised when he sensed that Zhao Shui did not follow him. He transmitted his voice, "If there is danger, leave first." After saying that, he spread out his soul force and carefully checked the surroundings. He quickly rushed out. At the same time, there were 3 other purple-robed warriors. They did not stay together, but ran towards a different thunder crystal. I will take care of you first." Lin Xian used the wind thunder steps and followed the weakest warrior. Among the ruins, there was a thunder python's skin the size of a table. It was crystal clear like a sapphire. A purple-robed warrior carefully avoided the harmonious spirit realm experts in the sky and quietly approached. In the sky, the Tsang family's patriarch and Yang family's patriarch were entangled by the thunder python and could not be distracted. "Go get the thunder crystal," they said to the surviving disciples. There were originally more than 100 people in the team, but now there were only 20 people left. They all ran towards the thunder crystal. "Die!" The purple-robed warrior sneered. Purple light flashed in his eyes and controlled the 3 approaching warriors. Then, he slashed his palm and 3 heads flew out. Swoosh! As soon as he did this, he felt a cold killing intent behind him. Swoosh! Twisting his body, the purple-clothed martial artist forcibly moved 3 meters to the left. He suddenly turned his head with a disdainful smile on his face. You want to play with me?" His expression changed because there was no one behind him. Puff! A sharp blade pierced through his heart. Golden lightning surged and destroyed all the vitality in his body. He tried his best to turn his head around to see who it was. Unfortunately, he only saw a slender hand take away his storage ring. Then, he blacked out and lost consciousness. Lin Xian pulled out the Autumn Scar sword. Blood flowed down the edge of the sword, but there was not a single trace of blood left on the blade. He took off the purple-robed man's purple robe and put it on himself. Then, he quickly put away the table-sized thunder python skin. This piece of thunder python skin was relatively small and in a remote location, so not many people paid attention to it. Therefore, Lin Xian's first attack went very smoothly. His entire body was hidden in the purple robe. His body floated like a ghost as he rushed toward another purple-robed man. Boom! A huge handprint appeared in front of him, creating a bottomless pit in the ground. Lin Xian's forehead was covered in cold sweat. He looked forward with a pale face. The other purple-robed man killed a few Tsang family disciples and put away a door-sized piece of thunder python skin into his storage ring. This whole process was seen by the head elder of the Tsang family in the sky. He immediately struck out a palm and killed the purple-robed man. The head elder of the Tsang family waved his hand, and the storage ring of the dead purple-robed man quickly flew toward him. Chi! A fiery red spear light flashed past, cutting off the connection between the storage ring and the head elder. Immediately, The storage ring fell to the ground. Yang Tian, the head elder of the Tsang family, roared in anger. Hee, we are only temporarily working together. You don't really think that we are on the same side, do you? The leader of the Yang family grabbed the storage ring with a smile on his face. Get lost. 100-meter-long palm swept out, covering the leader of the Yang family. Suddenly, countless lightning bolts fell. Break! The leader of the Yang family's spear was like a rainbow. Countless spear lights pierced through the palm in the sky. Roar! The thunder python demonic beast was not to be outdone. Silver lightning flashed on its tail, forming a long electric saw that slashed at the two of them. The battle became more intense. The surviving leader of the purple-robed men kept dodging and quickly arrived in front of a 10-meter-long piece of thunder python skin. An evil smile appeared on his face, and he quickly attacked. Boom! 100-meter-long spear light flew from the sky at extreme speed. The leader of the purple-robed men's eyes flashed with purple light, and he quickly retreated. Chi! 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 1,000-meter-long crack appeared at the place where he was originally standing. The purple-robed youth's face was gloomy. He did not dare to attack again. Instead, he looked gloomily at the sky. It was obvious that this was a warning shot. However, he would not give up. Whoosh! Lin Xian came close in his purple robe. At this time, no one would be suspicious, and no one would pay attention to him. Help me attract their attention. I will go get the thunder crystal. The purple-robed youth said coldly. Lin Xian nodded and quickly rushed forward. In an instant, he arrived near the crack. In the blink of an eye, he went straight for the thunder python skin. Humph! A cold snort sounded in the sky like a thunderclap. Don't think that I won't dare to kill someone from the purple demon palace. The spear light flew out like a dragon emerging from the sea, piercing towards Lin Xian. When the Yang family head took the initiative, Lin Xian began to dodge. After all, he did not really want to take the thunder python skin. Boom! 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 The spear light roared and pierced into the ground, forming a 10-meter-wide crater. As for Lin Xian, he was only 3 meters away from the crater. Cold sweat flowed down his face. If he had been a little slower, he would have died here. When Lin Xian made his move, the purple-robed youth also moved quickly. When the Yang family had attacked Lin Xian, the purple-robed youth rushed towards the thunder python skin. Whoosh! Finally, he succeeded this time. Go! He called out to Lin Xian and ran away. You are courting death. In the sky, the Yang family head and Tsang family head launched terrifying attacks. However, the two of them were restrained by the thunder python and guarded against each other. Their attacks were not strong and their accuracy was not high. On the contrary, Lin Xian and the purple-robed youth were soul force experts and had been paying attention to the movements in the sky. Thus, they managed to avoid the attack by a hair's breadth. Seeing the two of them leave, the Tsang family head and Yang family head did not chase after them. After all, that was only a small piece. The real head was still beside the thunder python. The thunder python seemed to understand their thoughts. Its silver eyes moved, and it suddenly turned its head, biting down on the remaining thunder python skin. Crack! The 80-meter-long thunder python skin was reduced by half. Evil beast, you are courting death. The Tsang family head and Yang family head's eyes turned red as they attacked crazily. Chapter 207. The purple-robed youth snatched a thunder crystal and immediately fled. Lin Xian followed closely behind. In the blink of an eye, the two of them were far away from the battlefield. We didn't come in vain this time. Wait for us. Before he could finish, Lin Xian suddenly attacked. The great dragon sword intent surged and a shocking, killing intent surged. A sword ray flashed past like a shooting star, extremely dazzling. Ding! Puff! The purple-robed youth's expression changed, and he immediately dodged. The sword ray flashed and slashed across his chest, stabbing his arm. He was wearing an inner armor, which barely blocked Lin Xian's sword. However, the sword pierced his arm. With a puff, his right arm broke and blood gushed out uncontrollably. Lin Xian's palm sucked and removed the broken arm, quickly removing the storage ring on it. The purple-robed youth was heavily injured. He quickly sealed his broken arm and stared at Lin Xian. You? Purple light flashed in his eyes, as if he had suddenly discovered something. So you're the target we've been looking for. His voice carried a trace of gloom. Good. Very good. The purple-robed youth panted. It's been a long time since anyone dared to offend our purple demon palace. Purple demon purgatory. He suddenly shouted, and the purple light in his eyes intensified, enveloping Lin Xian. In the next moment, the surrounding scene changed drastically. Mountains of corpses and rivers of blood. There was killing everywhere, just like hell. 5 crimson chains flew towards Lin Xian, wanting to bind him. Enter my spiritual space. I'll torture you to death. The purple-robed youth's face was hideous, like a demon, devouring bugs. Countless bugs swarmed towards Lin Xian's body, gnawing at his soul. Slowly enjoy the pain of your soul. I'll kill you bit by bit. The purple-robed youth's soul appeared in the spiritual space. Swish. Sword rays surged and the bugs on Lin Xian's body were cut into pieces. Clang. The chains binding Lin Xian broke. What? The purple-robed youth was shocked, his face filled with disbelief. Impossible. This is impossible. This is my spiritual space. How can you escape? He didn't believe that he was the master of this spiritual space. Unless the other party's soul power far exceeded his, they would not be able to break through his spiritual space. However, he had sensed that Lin Xian's soul power was not as strong as his. Nothing is impossible. It's just that you're too inexperienced. Lin Xian sneered. A translucent sword chi surged out from his body and slashed at the purple-robed young man's soul. Soul sword. How do you know the sword of souls? The purple-robed youth was completely terrified. This kind of method was too terrifying. Even in the purple extreme devil palace, there weren't many people who knew how to use it. Puff, puff. The soul sword slashed down and soon destroyed the purple-robed young man's soul. Whoosh. With a thought, Lin Xian returned to his body. All of this happened in an instant. The purple-robed youth's body was still there, but his soul had already been destroyed. With a flick of his finger, a bolt of lightning shot out and circled around the purple-robed youth's body before exploding. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. He had obtained more than 10 meters of lightning python skin, but he still felt that it wasn't enough. Cultivating the lightning rune body required large amounts of lightning sources. This was a rare opportunity. You still want to go? Lord Alcohol asked with a voice transmission. Let's take a look. Lin Xian nodded. He transformed into a beam of light and returned the way he came. The Tsang family's grand elder and the Yang family's patriarch attacked crazily, causing the lightning python's injuries to worsen. It attacked with its horn once again, and a silver lightning beam struck the duo. The Tsang family's patriarch and the Yang family's patriarch vomited blood and were in a sorry state. Let's risk it again. The Tsang family's grand elder circulated his spiritual energy to the maximum and flew out like a bolt of lightning. On the other side, the Yang family's patriarch merged with his spear, leaving a 1,000-meter-long tail of light in the air. Boom! Bam! The duo arrived in front of the lightning python, grabbed the remaining lightning python skin, and tore it apart. Rip! The Tsang family's grand elder obtained about 20 meters of lightning python skin, while the Yang family's patriarch also obtained a piece. With the items in hand, the duo didn't stop and ran into the distance. Roar! The demonic thunder python was clearly enraged. That was its old skin, and even more so, its food. Now, it had been snatched away by the despicable humans and was even heavily injured. Lightning surged on its body as silver lightning arcs intertwined and gathered at the silver horn on its head. So, a lightning beam shot out from the horn, straight into the sky. Clouds surged and churned constantly. The sky darkened instantly as 2 gigantic vortexes formed in the sky. Rumble. Silver light flashed as 2 thick bolts of lightning shot out from the vortexes, striking the Tsang family's grand elder and the Yang family's patriarch, respectively. Boom, boom, boom. Lightning flashed between heaven and earth as terrifying energy scattered in all directions. 2 tragic cries sounded as the air trembled. When the lightning dissipated, the clothes of the 2 men in the sky were tattered. Their hair was disheveled and blood was gushing out from their chests. The Tsang family's grand elder quickly flew into the distance. Lin Xian's eyes flashed as he quietly followed him. Through his purple spirit eyes, he could clearly see the situation in the sky. The Tsang family's grand elder's body was flying up and down, obviously unable to control his speed. Looks like this old man is heavily injured. Lin Xian was delighted. Xiao Xuanzi, a harmonious spirit expert, isn't someone you can deal with right now. Even if he is heavily injured, you can't kill him. Don't worry, Lord Jia. I don't want to kill him yet. I just want to get the lightning crystal. Lin Xian transmitted his voice. His whereabouts. Lin Xian's eyes flashed, and he couldn't help but speed up. The Tsang family's grand elder was indeed heavily injured. He was already injured, and after being struck by lightning, his injuries became even more serious. The loss this time is too great. The Tsang family's grand elder's face was gloomy. All the elites he brought were dead, and he only managed to get 20 meters of lightning crystal. I hope these lightning python skins can help me reach the mid-harmonious spirit realm. A trace of expectation appeared in his heart. Chi suddenly. A sword chi rushed forward and slashed at his chest. Humph. The Tsang family's grand elder snorted coldly. With a light grab of his palm, he extinguished the sharp sword chi. Get out here quickly, he shouted loudly, his voice shaking the surroundings. Lin Xian sighed. A harmonious spirit expert was indeed powerful. Even if he was injured, he was still not someone a Sea of Soul Realm warrior could handle. Swoosh Lin Xian's body swayed and stood out. Purple Extreme Devil Palace. The Tsang family's grand elder's pupils shrank when he saw the purple-robed man in front of him. I'll give you a chance to get out of here quickly. Otherwise, don't blame this old man for starting a massacre. The Tsang family's grand elder's voice was cold. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he wouldn't provoke the purple extreme devil palace. Old thing. Lin Xian snorted coldly in his heart. With a flip of his palm, a yellowed talisman treasure appeared in his hand. A yellow sword light slashed out like a rainbow. Wherever it passed, the void trembled as if it was about to split open. This sword light changed the color of the surroundings. Talisman treasure. The Tsang family's grand elder frowned slightly. Chapter 208. The power of this attack was close to the peak of the Sea of Soul Realm, far surpassing Lin Xian's strength. However, it still wasn't enough to deal with the Tsang family's great elder. Try to use your soul power to deal with him. Lord Alcohol transmitted. Lin Xian nodded. Purple light flashed in his eyes, and a strange inscription appeared in his right eye. His left eye turned into a sword-shaped inscription. Mental Cage. Soul Sword. Lin Xian used all the soul techniques he knew. At the same time, he took out his bronze gauntlet and attacked again. This series of actions happened in an instant. It could be said that all these attacks landed on the Tsang family's great elder. Normally, the Tsang family's great elder wouldn't care about these attacks, but now that he was injured, his strength was affected. Moreover, there was a strange soul attack, so he had to be careful. He coldly snorted, and a dazzling light quickly appeared on his body, enveloping him. Unlike the spirit armor formed by a Sea of Soul Realm warrior, the light screen formed by a harmonious spirit expert far surpassed the former in terms of defensive range and degree. Bang! 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 The sword light and bronze light hit the dazzling light screen, causing ripples. However, the soul attack directly passed through. Humph! The great elder groaned, his mind somewhat absent-minded. However, as a harmonious spirit expert, his soul power wasn't ordinary. Lin Xian's attack only caused him to be absent-minded, but didn't cause any substantial damage. Powerful indeed. Lin Xian sighed inwardly. He had used almost all of his techniques, but he still couldn't injure the Great Elder. Whoosh! The Great Elder waved his hand, and a large lightning hand came crashing down. Swoosh! Lin Xian used his extreme speed and dodged. However, the purple robe on his body was shattered. Little bastard, it's you. The Tsang family's grand elder's face twisted when he saw Lin Xian. Old fogey, it's me, yours truly. Lin Xian laughed coldly. Little thief, you can't hurt me. The Tsang family's great elder gritted his teeth and said, Today, I'll use you as a sacrifice to my Tsang family's disciples. Lightning surged from his hand, forming a lightning chain that rattled in the air. Whoosh! 3 lightning chains formed a triangular shape and flew out quickly, binding Lin Xian up. Ha 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 ha! The Tsang family's great elder laughed. Little thing. Let me see what secrets you have. With a flick of his wrist, the lightning chain brought Lin Xian back. The Tsang family's grand elder was delighted. Lin Xian had many secrets on him, such as that golden lightning. Even his heart was moved. With the golden lightning, I will definitely be able to enter the mid-harmonious spirit realm. He grabbed Lin Xian with one hand. Humph! A mocking smile appeared on Lin Xian's face. Little thing, you dare to laugh at me? I'll let you have a taste of the harmonious spirit realm. Before he finished speaking, the Tsang family's grand elder's body suddenly trembled as he felt an inexplicable chill. Crack, crack, crack. A trace of blue qi was emitted from Lin Xian's body, emitting a strange cold energy. In a flash, the Tsang family's grand elder's arm was covered in a thick layer of ice, and this cold qi quickly spread to every part of his body. Whoosh! Lin Xian's sword intent surged, forming an invisible sword qi that cut off the lightning chain. His body quickly retreated. The Tsang family's grand elder ignored Lin Xian, as he was in great trouble. This cold qi not only froze his body, but also froze the spirit energy and soul in his body. This little thief. How could he have such a thing? He was irritated, and he kept urging his spirit energy to resist. Seeing that the profound ice qi was not able to freeze the Tsang family's grand elder, Lin Xian frowned. He had underestimated the power of a harmonious spirit realm warrior. He waved his autumn scar sword, and the power of wind and thunder formed a sharp wind thunder spike, hitting the Tsang family's grand elder. Ding! Ding! The autumn scar sword emitted sparks, as if it had hit an iron wall. So hard! Lin Xian clenched his teeth. The Tsang family's grand elder was trying his best to resist the cold qi in his body, and had no extra energy to care about Lin Xian. Lin Xian's previous attack could only leave a shallow mark on his body. Although it had no effect on his body, it still made him furious. An ant in the 4th layer of the spiritual sea realm dared to be disrespectful to him. What are you looking at? Lin Xian could not do anything to him, and he was extremely frustrated. F***ck, still looking. Lin Xian raised his leg and kicked the Tsang family's grand elder's face. Instantly, a shoe print appeared on that old face. F***ck, so thick-skinned? Lin Xian had long hated the Tsang family to the bone, and now he could finally get his revenge. Clang, clang, clang. He kept raising his leg, leaving shoe prints on the Tsang family's grand elder's face. Although it could not cause any harm to him, this feeling was too good. This scene was coincidentally seen by Zhao Shui, who had just arrived. Her small mouth formed an O, and her pair of beautiful eyes were wide open. Heavens, what is Lin Xian doing? He actually dared to kick a harmonious spirit realm expert, and it's a crazy kick. You're here. Lin Xian once again stepped on the Tsang family's grand elder's face, and he even used his strength to stomp on it a few times. Ah, the Tsang family's grand elder felt like his lungs were about to explode, and his old face turned purple. How many years had it been? Ever since he became a harmonious spirit realm expert, no one dared to be disrespectful to him. And now, a piece of trash that he regarded as an ant dared to treat him like this. Little bastard, when I catch you, I'll break all the bones in your body and torture you to death bit by bit. Clang. Lin Xian kicked out again. You dare to threaten this young master? Not good. Retreat quickly. Lord Alcohol suddenly transmitted his voice. Lin Xian's body swayed, and he immediately pulled Zhao Shui back. Boom. Within a 10-meter radius, countless lightning bolts surged and danced wildly, shattering everything. When the lightning bolts disappeared, a terrifying crater appeared on the ground. Everything in the surroundings was scorched, emitting a burnt smell. The Tsang family's grand elder's attack was immediately invaded by the profound ice qi, and half of his body was frozen. Old man, you still dare to fight back at this point? Lin Xian was extremely angry. He was almost injured just now. Thinking about how the Tsang family had tried to assassinate him several times, he felt a burst of anger. You brought this upon yourself. I have no enmity with you, but your Tsang family tried to kill me several times. Humph. In this world, only the strong are respected. You don't deserve those treasures. The Tsang family's grand elder's lips moved slightly. Only the strong are respected? Lin Xin laughed. Slap. He raised his hand and fiercely slapped the Tsang family's grand elder. Go to hell with the strong. Lin Xin growled. Among those of the same generation, no one in your Tsang family can defeat me. You're an old man who has lived for hundreds of years, but you still fell into my hands. In an instant, he slapped the Tsang family's grand elder's face more than 100 times. One day, I will personally go to your Tsang family and uproot you. Lin Xian didn't attack again. Instead, he looked at the storage ring. Unfortunately, the Tsang family's grand elder clenched his fists. He couldn't take it out. If I can't have it, I won't let you have it either. Lin Xian's heart was filled with ruthlessness. He placed the bronze gauntlet on the storage ring and quickly retreated. Boom! With a deafening explosion, the bronze gauntlet exploded. A green energy storm spread in all directions, and everything within a 100-meter radius was reduced to dust. Chapter 209. As the green light dissipated, a 100-meter deep pit appeared on the ground. In the center of the pit, the Tsang family's great elder sat with a gloomy expression. Half of his body was filled with blue mysterious ice chi, while the other half was filled with lightning spiritual energy. The two were resisting each other. On his right hand, the storage ring on his index finger cracked. This was a middle-grade storage ring with a space of 100 square meters. It was more expensive than a spirit rank martial art. But now, it was broken. The Tsang family's great elder's eyes burned with anger. He wanted to tear Lin Xian into countless pieces. 2 hours later, the mysterious ice chi on his body disappeared. Little bastard, get out here. His voice was like a sea of thunder. It rolled out and could be heard clearly within 100 miles. But he could not sense Lin Xian's existence. Whoosh! The Tsang family's great elder turned into a stream of light and flew through the mountains. Any mountain that he found suspicious was smashed to pieces with a palm. In an instant, more than 10 mountains were flattened. However, Lin Xian did not appear. The Tsang family's great elder vented his anger in the sky. The terrifying energy did not dissipate for a long time. Lin Xian and Zhao Shui had already escaped from the forest. The two of them rushed towards the fire province. A day later, the two of them arrived at the border of the fire province. Entering the fire province, the two of them heaved a sigh of relief. They could feel the Tsang family's great elder's angry roar and terrifying venting. If they were caught, one could imagine what would happen. In the fire province, the air was hot and dry. It was as if there was a huge furnace barbecuing. In fact, it was almost the same. There were many volcanoes in the fire province, and there were fire veins underground. This made the climate very hot. Lin Xian was wearing a blue robe. He had the mysterious ice chi in his body, so it was not very hot. Zhao Shui changed into a cool short-sleeved shirt. Her jade-like arms were exposed, causing people to daydream. Lin Xian came to an uninhabited volcano and prepared to go into seclusion. He wanted to refine the thunder crystal and use it to cultivate the copper thunder mark. After digging a human-shaped cave, Lin Xian went in. He released the little white monkey and let it and Zhao Shui stand guard outside. After setting up a defense in the cave, Lin Xian flipped his palm and a table-sized thunder python skin appeared in his hand. It was about a foot thick, like pieces of sapphires pieced together. When Lin Xian touched it with his finger, he could feel the thick power of thunder and lightning. Grabbing the thunder python skin with both hands, Lin Xian began to cultivate the copper thunder pattern. This time, he wanted to cultivate his left hand. Strands of pure lightning energy surged out from the thunder python's skin. Its aura was extremely terrifying. This energy was much stronger than the thundergrass. Ka. Terrifying cracks appeared on the surrounding mountain walls from the overflowing lightning, as if they had been hacked by swords and sabers. The blue lightning covered Lin Xian's left hand, and a violent energy instantly rushed into his body. It was like a mad dragon that was rampaging through his body. Suppress. Lin Xian's eyes narrowed. Golden electric arcs came out of his body and formed a lightning chain, trapping the violent lightning energy. At the same time, he used the secret technique of the thunder pattern, using the power of thunder and lightning to continuously temper his body. As time passed, the power of thunder and lightning weakened. The thunder python skin gradually dimmed, and cracks appeared in some places. However, Lin Xian's left arm was getting stronger and stronger. It was as if a shocking power was awakening. Feeling the power in his left arm, Lin Xian nodded slightly. He split out some lightning and tempered his right arm again. Ka. A 1-meter-long crack appeared on the table-sized thunder python skin, causing it to break into 2 halves. Lin Xian knew that this was because the power of thunder and lightning had been exhausted. He exerted a little force with both hands, and the thunder python skin in his hand turned into powder. With a thought, the power of thunder and lightning flowed quickly on his arm. It faintly emitted a blue light, as if thousands of thunder were roaring. Continue to cultivate. Lin Xian was overjoyed. He took out the thunder python skin that was more than 10 meters long. Next is my legs. Lin Xian followed the instructions. After 2 hours, his legs also emitted the light of thunder and lightning. At this moment, more than half of the thunder python skin was left. He continued to absorb the power of thunder and lightning. When the last piece of skin on his body was covered by the thunder pattern, a rumbling sound came from his body. An unusually comfortable feeling flowed through Lin Xian's body. Lin Xian's face was full of enjoyment, and he almost groaned out loud. At this moment, the thunder python skin in his hand had completely shattered. Lin Xian's body flashed, and he appeared outside the cave. Wuji wuji. When the little white monkey saw Lin Xian, it jumped onto his shoulder. Lin Xian was slightly surprised. This little monkey actually ignored his power of thunder and lightning. However, Zhao Shui was not so lucky. She was oppressed by Lin Xian's aura, and her face turned pale. Lin Xian looked up to the sky and roared and punched out. The mountain rocks shattered, and the 100-meter-tall mountain was destroyed. Zhao Shui covered her mouth in shock. This kind of strength was probably very close to the 7th level of the spiritual sea realm, and Lin Xian's cultivation was only at the 4th level of the spiritual sea realm. Not bad. I didn't risk my life to get it in vain. Lin Xian laughed. Let's go. I need a fire attribute spirit fruit. I wonder if the fire province has it. The two of them ran quickly and arrived at a nearby city. Flame City. The entire city wall was built with fiery red stones, and it emitted a shocking heat. Lin Xian and Zhao Shui found an inn and stayed there. They had been running around for the past few days, and their bodies and minds were tired. Lin Xian relaxed his mind and had a good sleep. The next day, he woke up naturally. He felt full of energy, and his body had recovered to its peak state. Opening the door, Lin Xian went downstairs and prepared to eat breakfast. He looked around and found Zhao Shui, but he frowned slightly. Zhao Shui sat quietly in the hall on the 1st floor. There were a few young men around her, and their eyes were shining. Their expressions were rippling, and he didn't know what they were talking about. Lin Xian sighed and walked over. He had already sensed that Zhao Shui was different. Her ocular skill was more of a charm, and she had a strange attraction. Lin Xian's soul was strong, and he wasn't affected. However, the same couldn't be said for others. Especially those martial artists with weak willpower, they couldn't resist at all. Rubbing the little white monkey's head, Lin Xian walked slowly to Zhao Shui's side, and then slowly sat down. You're awake. Zhao Shui smiled. This smile made the charm on her body even more intense, and the few young men nearby started to drool. So beautiful, so beautiful. The few young men murmured, Kid, who let you sit here? Get lost. One of the young men shouted coldly, That's right. This has nothing to do with you. Get lost. The rest of the young men echoed, Wuji wuji. The little white monkey made faces at them and stuck out its tongue. Damn it. Where did this stinky monkey come from? How dare you disrespect us? The few young men were angry, and one of them even grabbed the little white monkey. Chapter 210. The young man's face was pale, and his eyes were unfocused. It was obvious that he was addicted to wine and women. Even so, he was still in the fourth sky of the spiritual sea realm. This meant that he was not an ordinary person. His 5 fingers formed into claws, and flames danced on them. He grabbed at the little white monkey. Wooji wooji. The little white monkey looked at him with disdain. With a swoosh, it disappeared. When it reappeared, it was already on the young man's face. It waved its claws and scratched wildly. Chi-chi. In an instant, countless bloody scars appeared on the young man's face. It was a horrible sight. Ah! He retracted his hand and screamed. The little white monkey jumped back onto Lin Xian's shoulder. Wooji wooji. The little monkey pointed at them, as if warning them not to provoke it. So fast. The surrounding martial artists were alarmed. They looked at Lin Xian and the others in shock. How dare he provoke the Xing family? This young man is in for it. Someone shook his head and sighed. Ah, my face, my face. That young man covered his face and screamed. Give me a mirror. The servant beside him took out a silver mirror and said in a trembling voice, that, young master. Cut the F** king crap. Hurry up and give it to me. The young man screamed and snatched the mirror. In the mirror, his face was like a field that had been plowed. It was a horrible sight. Ah, how dare you ruin my face? I'll kill you. The young man screamed crazily, but he did not dare to attack. Behind him, his follower was also glaring angrily at him. The others looked at Lin Xian coldly. Young man, how dare you hurt the Xing family's young master Xing Tong? You must be tired of living. Zhao Shui said calmly. Young masters, I'm really sorry. Her voice was like a spring breeze, causing ripples in the hearts of the people. Hee, don't worry, beautiful lady. This has nothing to do with you. We can all testify. The other young men patted their chests and said. The young man looked at Zhao Shui and said, as long as you're willing to spend a night with me, I'll let this young man go. Otherwise, just wait for your deaths. Lin Xian smiled and said nothing. Although Zhao Shui looked weak, she was a decisive person. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to survive the Purple Demon Palace's pursuit for so long. Sure enough, after hearing this, Zhao Shui's smile widened. Her eyes were like water as she took a deep look at the young man who was caught. Xing Tong's scratched face suddenly glowed red like a ripe apple. Hot, so hot. He tore off his clothes and pounced on the body of the young man beside him. His hands roamed around and his mouth was full of kisses. F***ck. You pervert. That disciple sent Xing Tong flying with a slap and tidied up his clothes. The other youths also felt a chill run down their spines. They didn't expect Xing Tong to actually like this. Damn it, I was wondering why the way he looked at me the other day was weird. As if possessed, Xing Tong pounced on the servant behind him and kissed him repeatedly. The surrounding warriors were all stunned. Looking at the erotic scene on the ground, their expressions were very interesting. When the owner of the inn saw that the situation was not right, he hurriedly ran to recruit people. Not long after, a group of people rushed over angrily. The surrounding crowd dispersed and looked at the group of people with fear. The person in the lead was a burly man. He was almost 2 meters tall and seemed to be burning with fire as he walked. When he saw the situation on the ground, his eyes widened and he slapped Xing Tong unconscious. What happened? The burly man asked in a deep voice. He knew that although Xing Tong was addicted to wine and women, he was still able to differentiate between men and women. Someone must have done something secretly. The surrounding warriors lowered their heads and didn't dare to say anything. The few youths who were with Xing Tong told the burly man what had happened. A woman who knows charm and a young man with a monkey? The burly man frowned. He had never heard of these 2 people in the underworld. Where are they? The burly man asked in a deep voice. They are. The few of them turned around and found that Lin Xian and Zhao Shui were long gone. A bunch of trash. The burly man's eyes were cold. Search the entire city and capture them. How dare they touch the people of the Xing mansion? It seems like they don't know how to write the word death. Yes, the warrior behind the burly man said respectfully. On the wide street, Lin Xian and Zhao Shui walked quickly. Fire State, Shadow Country, and Rain Country are neighbors. The powers here are very complicated. We can go to the inscription union and get an inscription master rank. As long as we pass, normal powers won't dare to provoke us. Zhao Shui said slowly. Inscription union? Lin Xian touched his chin. He had heard of this organization before. Everyone in the union was an inscription master. Moreover, this organization didn't belong to Xia country. They were in other nearby countries. It could be said that they had a strong background and no one dared to provoke them. All right, Lin Xian nodded. But I want to wait for a few days. I feel that my soul power is about to break through. Zhao Shui's mouth twitched. Another breakthrough? Are you kidding me? Are you trying to hurt me? Lin Xian was about to break through. He had been using the mysterious ice chi to refine his soul. His improvement was very fast. He only needed an opportunity to break through to become a second seal inscription master. In the middle of Blazing City, there was a 1,000-meter-tall volcano. This volcano had been modified by an inscription master. Not only would it not erupt, but it had also become a sacred place for cultivation. Lin Xian and Zhao Shui came here and decided to cultivate for a few days. At the foot of the volcano, there were many cultivation rooms. Lin Xian took a look. There were a total of 5 floors. The lower they went, the more expensive it was. Lin Xian and Zhao Shui chose 2 cultivation rooms on the 3rd floor. They paid the spiritual stones and received the keys. The cultivation rooms on the 3rd floor cost 1,000 low-grade spiritual stones a day. It could be said that the price was very expensive. However, Lin Xian had nearly 2 million low-grade spiritual stones on him. This amount of money was nothing to him. After paying the fees for 5 days, the two of them walked towards the cultivation rooms. The lower they went, the higher the temperature. The temperature on the 3rd floor reached a few hundred degrees. It was like a huge furnace. Lin Xian had the copper thunder mark and could still withstand it. Zhao Shui had already put up her spiritual armor. It's just right for me to cultivate. Lin Xian opened the door and walked in. The facilities inside were very simple. Lin Xian didn't care about it. After all, the warriors who came here were here to cultivate, not to enjoy. There was a brown stone in the middle. There were 8 bowl-sized holes around it. Lava was boiling inside. This cultivation room made use of the underground fire vein. Lord Alcohol transmitted his voice. Fire vein? Lin Xian was puzzled. Yes. The reason why there are so many volcanoes in the fire state is because there is a fire vein underground, Lord Alcohol said slowly. This is a mutated spirit vein. It contains more than 5 times the spiritual energy of ordinary places, especially the fire attribute spiritual energy. It's almost materialized. Indeed, Lin Xian could see wisps of fiery red mist floating in the room with his naked eye. They were like tiny red lines. Whoosh! He came to the brown stone platform and sat cross-legged. This time, I must break through to become a second seal inscription master. Chapter 211. Just as Lin Xian entered the training room, the people of the Xing mansion also found out about Lin Xian's whereabouts. The two of you stay here and watch. If there's any movement, report it immediately. Yes. The 2 warriors replied respectfully. In the training room, the air let out a low roar. The originally hot room actually became somewhat cool. Lin Xian sat cross-legged on the brown stone platform, surrounded by a layer of blue ice crystals. The 8 holes that were spewing lava were also covered by a layer of ice. This process lasted for 3 days. On the 4th day, Lin Xian opened his eyes. As if countless stars had been extinguished, the purple light in Lin Xian's eyes disappeared and became deeper. His eyes flashed, and inscriptions formed in the air, flickering. What was different from before was that this time, 2 inscriptions were formed at once, and the lines on them were incomparably complex. As expected of a second seal inscriber, my soul power is more than twice as strong. Lin Xian showed a trace of joy. He had been using the mysterious ice chi to temper his soul for the past few days, and finally reached the level of a second seal inscriber. I can go to the inscription union to take the test. Lin Xian walked out of the door. After sending a message to Zhao Shui, Lin Xian waited at the side. Not long after, the stone door at the side slowly opened. Zhao Shui walked out with a smile. Not only had her soul power strengthened, but she had also broken through to the 6th level of the spiritual sea realm. However, when she saw Lin Xian, she was obviously stunned. You really broke through to become a second seal inscriber? Zhao Shue's voice was trembling. I was lucky. I broke through, Lin Xian said with a smile. Zhao Shui rolled her eyes. This was not a matter of luck. Many inscribers cultivated their entire lives and did not necessarily become second-grade inscribers. Lin Xian's talent was too abnormal. Let's go. The test is too easy for you. Zhao Shui took a deep breath and said sourly. The two of them walked out of the 3rd basement floor together and headed outside. Seeing that Lin Xian had come out, the members of the Xing family were elated and wanted to send a message. Lin Xian had long since noticed their movements. With a flash of his body, he appeared in front of them. Please note that fighting is not allowed in the volcano cultivation ground. Lin Xian's actions attracted the attention of the martial artists in the cultivation area, and an old man warned him, he's actually a martial artist in the 7th layer of the spiritual ocean tier. Lin Xian was surprised. Lin Xian glanced at the Xing Mansion's cultivators before turning around to leave. Zhao Shui hurriedly followed him, and the two of them disappeared in a flash. Isn't that the person the Xing Mansion is looking for? A well-informed cultivator whispered. The old man in the cultivation ground stroked his beard and said coldly, no matter who it is, you can't make a move here. He looked at the two cultivators from Xing Mansion and suddenly frowned. Something's wrong. The old man's expression changed. He took a step forward and quickly arrived in front of the two. The eyes of the two cultivators from the Xing Mansion were glazed over, their faces contorted in pain. This is mental illusion technique. The old man's knowledge was not ordinary. He could tell at a glance that the two cultivators were under an illusion technique and had lost their minds. Wake up, the old man shouted in a low voice. A wave of pressure enveloped the two cultivators. The two cultivators trembled and then looked at the old man in front of them with a blank expression. What's going on? Why are we here? Oh no, that kid ran away. Hurry and report this. The two cultivators hurriedly ran away. Sigh. The old man shook his head and then walked in. The Inscription Union was an organization of inscriptionists. It was very famous in the entire Tiannan region and could be said to be a very large organization. The 9-story tower towered into the clouds and was completely red. It was built with the best fire stones. The gate was very wide, 10 meters high and 20 meters long. There were lifelike drawings of real dragons and phoenixes. There were not many people coming and going, but those who came and went were either disciples of aristocratic families or martial artists of large sections. The Inscription Union was actually a place of business. Elixirs, weapons, arrays, everything was available inside. As long as you could afford it, there was nothing you could not buy. Moreover, there were inscriptionists inside. Some martial artists could request for items that were suitable for them. The effects were far better than those bought from other places. Lin Xian and Zhao Shui walked slowly along the stairs. At the entrance, they were blocked. May I know why the two of you are here? The guard at the door asked. He saw that Lin Xian and Zhao Shui were dressed in ordinary clothes and did not look like rich people, so he stopped them to ask. During this time, a few disciples of aristocratic families passed by and looked at Lin Xian with disdain. Humph, country bumpkin, you've come to the wrong place. Someone sneered. Lin Xian smiled indifferently. I heard that there is an inscriptionist assessment here. The two of us want to give it a try. Inscriptionist assessment. The guard at the door changed his expression. Even the disciples of aristocratic families next to him were surprised. They looked at Lin Xian with a different gaze, as if they were much more respectful. I see. Sorry, please follow me. The guard cupped his fist and said, Thank you. Lin Xian's attitude was gentle and his expression was calm. After the two of them followed the guard in, some of the martial artists nearby praised. That kid is so young. He shouldn't be an adult yet, right? TSK, the girl beside him is not bad. My heart is itching to see her. You're courting death. If he becomes an inscriptionist, I'll see if you still dare to talk nonsense. Hee, I'm just joking. But it's rare to see someone this young taking the inscriptionist assessment. The hall was even more spacious. The space on the first floor was more than 30 meters high. There were many stars painted on the roof, as if it was the sky. Elder Sue, these two are here to take the inscriptionist assessment, the guard said respectfully. Oh. The old man who was dozing off opened his eyes. There was a flash of light in his eyes. He looked at Lin Xian and Zhao Shui and felt their soul power. He nodded and said, "There is an assessment today. Go and fill in your information." As soon as Elder Sue finished speaking, someone brought in a pen and paper. Lin Xian looked at it and saw that it was some basic information. Most of it was name, age, and so on. The two of them quickly filled in the information and handed it to Elder Sue. Oh, 17 years old? Elder Sue looked at Lin Xian's information and suddenly raised his eyebrows. 17 years old, taking the inscriptionist assessment was indeed quite young. But when he saw the information below, he sat up straight. You want to take the second-level inscriptionist assessment? Elder Sue's voice was full of doubt. Yes. Lin Xian nodded. He couldn't understand why the old man would have such a big reaction. Little guy, are you playing with me? Elder Sue asked with uncertainty. Elder, who do you think would dare to play with people here? Lin Xian didn't know whether to laugh or cry. That's right. Elder Sue nodded. But you have never taken the inscriptionist assessment before. You have to start from the beginning. No problem. Lin Xian gladly agreed. If he couldn't even pass the first-level inscriptionist assessment, then how could he be a second-level inscriptionist? The two of you follow me. Elder Sue stood up and led the two of them inside. Chapter 212. After bypassing the second floor, Elder Sue brought Lin Xian and Zhao Shui to the third floor. After walking for more than 10 meters along the long passageway, a dark red door appeared. There were two bronze lion handles on top of it, making it look extraordinarily mighty. Elder Sue placed his hand on one of the lion heads and exerted a little force. A circle of inscription that looked like water ripples quickly spread out, forming a triangular pattern. Buzz. The dark red door trembled slightly before opening slightly. Elder Sue smiled and pushed the door open. Lin Xian praised in his heart. He didn't expect the mechanism to be so ingenious. If he rushed in without knowing the situation, he would probably be seriously injured. On top of the dark red door, there was a powerful inscription formation. The aura it emitted wasn't any weaker than a harmonious spirit realm expert. Lin Xian had also noticed the soul force that Elder Sue released just now. A second seal inscription master, and a peak one at that. He was very strong. At least, Lin Xian wasn't his match at all. Inside the dark red door was a classical hall. It lacked some extravagance, but it had a sense of history. There were many people standing in the hall. Most of them were young people. In front of the young people stood 3 people in silver robes. On their chests, there were a few golden ripples that looked like crescent moons. Among them, there was an elegant middle-aged man and a young woman on both sides. Both of them had 2 golden runes on their bodies. Standing in the middle was an old man with 3 golden runes on his chest. What a powerful soul force! Lin Xian's pupil shrank when he saw the old man in the middle. His soul force had already surpassed Elder Sue's, reaching an unbelievable level. It's a 3rd-grade inscription master. Lord Alcohol transmitted. 3rd grade. Lin Xian was surprised. As expected of the Inscription Alliance, he had seen so many inscription masters in such a short time. There was even a 3rd-grade inscription master. That was an existence equivalent to a harmonious spirit realm expert. The people in the hall looked at Lin Xian and the others, their eyes filled with curiosity. Elder Sue, why are you here? Who are the 2 behind you? The middle-aged woman asked curiously. Haha, these 2 are also here to participate in the Inscription Master assessment. I saw that it was not yet time for the assessment, so I brought them here. After all, there are still a few days until the Battle of the Inscription Tower. We can't miss out on some young geniuses. Young genius? Hearing Elder Sue's words, everyone looked at Lin Xian with a trace of unwillingness in their eyes. Even the 3 silver-robed men looked over. Among them, the scholarly middle-aged man was slightly taken aback when he saw Lin Xian. Then, he smiled. Lin Xian, I didn't expect it to be you. Hello, Senior Wang. Lin Xian smiled. This middle-aged man was the elder of the 10,000 treasure tower. Moreover, he was the one who escorted Lin Xian and the others to the snow-seeking sect. No one expected him to be here. Lin Xian, you are Lin Xian? The middle-aged woman was astonished. Even the powerful old man was staring at him. The young disciples behind them were discussing. Many of them looked at Lin Xian with unkind expressions. He is the Lin Xian of the 10,000 treasure tower. I heard that he occupied a spot to participate in the inscription tower without taking the assessment. What? There is such a thing. I want to see what this kid is capable of. What can he do at such a young age? Lin Xian listened to these discussions and smiled bitterly. It turned out that his reputation had already spread among these people. The middle-aged man said to Lin Xian, "This is Deacon Ming of the Inscription Alliance, and this is Elder Song of the Inscription Alliance. He is also the manager of this sub-alliance." "Greetings, seniors," Lin Xian said respectfully. The two nodded with a smile. Elder Song said slowly, "Since everyone is here, let's begin." "Yes." Deacon Wang received the order and said loudly, "There are a total of 16 people in this inscription master assessment. Those who draw the inscription according to the requirements will become a first-grade inscription master. Now, everyone find a place to stand. The assessment is about to begin." In front of them, 16 green jade platforms appeared. They were more than 1 meter high, and some materials were placed on them. Lin Xian and the others found a place to stand. He roughly looked at them and felt that there should be no difficulty. The others were seriously preparing. Lin Xian raised his head slightly and found that there were 4 young people who did not come to participate in the assessment. Instead, they stood to the side and looked coldly. Among them, there was a woman in a silver robe. Her expression was cold, and her appearance was unparalleled. Her graceful figure was hidden in the silver robe. On her chest, there was a golden line drawn. First-grade inscription master. Lin Xian was surprised. He found that the others were also first-grade inscriptionists. It seems that these people should be participating in the second-grade inscription master assessment. Feeling Lin Xian's gaze, the beautiful woman did not have any change in expression. However, the few young people beside her showed a disdainful expression. The inscription master assessment begins now. You only need to draw the inscriptions according to the requirements, Deacon Wang said in a clear voice. On the green jade platform, there was a layer of light. Lin Xian saw a line of words appear on it. It turns out that I have to draw 9 basic inscriptions and 9 derivative inscriptions. However, I only have 20 breaths of time. Lin Xian quickly read the requirements. With a thought, he began to draw the inscriptions. For him, this was a very simple matter. These inscriptions were the most commonly used inscriptions. Lin Xian practiced every day, and the time limit was even less of a problem for him. He was now a second seal inscription master. His speed was many times faster than before. However, he did not show too much shock. Outside, Deacon Wang and the others saw that Lin Xian used 15 breaths of time to draw 18 inscriptions. They could not help but secretly nod. However, the few young people showed a disdainful look. Humph! That year, I only used 12 breaths of time. These people are really trash. Of course, they can't be compared to Brother Zhou. Another person laughed. However, that lady's strength is not bad. The young man surnamed Zhou looked at the figure and his eyes lit up. They were naturally looking at Zhao Shui. In terms of appearance, Zhao Shui did not belong to the silver-robed lady. Moreover, she had an indescribable aura. Moreover, Zhao Shui's strength had reached the peak of a first seal inscription master. Her strength was comparable to that of the others. The silver-robed lady looked at Zhao Shui. Her eyes gradually brightened, and then she carefully sized her up. On the green jade platform, after Lin Xian drew 18 inscriptions, the words on the platform changed again. This time, there were 3 choices. Lin Xian quickly chose to be an inscription master. The time to refine a first-grade elixir is the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. Lin Xian looked at the materials on the green jade platform and immediately had an idea. Only 1/3 of the materials on the platform were for inscription masters. From this 1/3, he had to choose the elixirs he needed. If the previous assessment was about basic skills, then this was about actual combat. Only by refining a first-grade elixir within the time limit could one become a first-grade inscription master. Outside, Elder Song and the two deacons looked at the platform. I wonder how many people will succeed this time? Deacon Ming said slowly. Chapter 213. It should be about half, Attendant Wang said in a low voice as he looked at Lin Xian. When he saw Lin Xian's skillful technique, a smile appeared on Attendant Wang's face. Lin Xian was relatively relaxed. Refining a first-grade elixir was a piece of cake for him. He could even use his soul power to observe the others. Among these people, about half of them were first-grade inscriptionists. However, they were far from Zhao Shui, let alone Lin Xian. After the time it took for a stick of incense to burn, the green jade platform glowed and everyone stopped. Among them, 5 of them did not complete their elixirs and were eliminated. Among the remaining 11 people, 4 of their medicinal pills did not meet the mark. In the end, only 7 of them passed the assessment. This number was similar to what the attendants had guessed. No one was too surprised. The disciples who passed the assessment were excited, while those who failed stood aside dejectedly. Elder Song said slowly, "Inscriptions are vast and profound. Regardless of whether you pass the assessment or not, you cannot slack off. Remember this." Next is the second-grade inscriptionist assessment. Shanshan, prepare yourselves. Yes, the young men in silver robes replied. The 4 of them walked towards the green jade platform. Lin Xian also walked out. Kid, what are you doing? Go back. One of the young men shouted coldly. Everyone looked at Lin Xian, not knowing what he was going to do. The lady in silver robes looked at him and frowned. She said softly, "Please don't disturb our assessment." Lin Xian touched his chin and said, "Sorry, I'm also part of the assessment." You? The young men were stunned and then sneered. This is the second-grade inscriptionist assessment. Are you sure you can do it? The disciples who passed the assessment also sneered. He wants to take the second-grade inscriptionist assessment? Even I can't do it, let alone him. Zhao Shui smiled but did not say anything. She knew that Lin Xian had the ability. Elder Song and the others looked at Elder Su with a questioning gaze. Haha, that's right. This little guy signed up for the second-grade inscription master examination, Mr. Su said with a smile, because he has never taken the exam before. So we let him start from the first-grade inscriptionist exam? What? Those young disciples looked as if they had eaten duck eggs and were choked speechless. The silver-robed woman glanced at Lin Xian in surprise. A trace of curiosity appeared in her eyes. The 3 young men behind her had gloomy expressions as they stared unkindly at Lin Xian. Not everyone can become a second-grade inscription master. First, you have to reach the second seal soul force state. The youth named Zhou Yong said in an ambiguous tone, "Prove it. How old is this guy? He definitely can't do it." That's right. You're still trying to bluff your way out of this. What a joke. Lin Xian's expression remained the same. Since they wanted to prove it, then he would prove it to them. 2 inscriptions appeared in the air at the same time. Ripples appeared in the air as strands of strange energy fluctuated. Those complicated lines dazzled many people. After a moment, the inscriptions in the air dissipated. Everyone woke up from their daze and looked at Lin Xian's figure as if they had seen a ghost. How is this possible? He's only 17 years old. The group of disciples felt that it was difficult to breathe. They couldn't believe this fact. The silver-robed woman's eyes became fierce and contained a fighting spirit. Her name was Huang Shanshan, and she was Elder Song's disciple. Since she was young, she had been recognized as an abnormal talent. The surrounding disciples simply couldn't compare with her. Even some disciples who were older than her couldn't compare with her. But now, a youth suddenly appeared. He was younger than her, but his strength wasn't weak. This caused her to feel a sense of resistance. Elder Song nodded with a smile and said in a deep voice, "Let's begin." Lin Xian and the others walked to the green jade stage and calmed down to prepare. Humph, so what if you have a second seal soul force? Zhou Yong's face was cold. To become a second-grade inscription master, it's not just about having a strong soul force. You two, show me your true abilities. Zhou Yong shouted in a low voice. He didn't want to be defeated by a youth. Looking at the 5 people preparing, Deacon Ming chuckled and said, Shan, this little girl has been waiting for this for a long time. Yes, she has been preparing for more than 2 months. There shouldn't be a problem this time. Elder Song laughed, but the others might not be so. After all, the second-grade inscription master examination isn't child's play. Deacon Wang, do you think that little guy Lin Xian will be able to pass? I don't know. Deacon Wang shook his head. The last time I saw him, he only had a first seal soul force. I didn't expect that after not seeing him for more than 2 months, he would have a breakthrough. Oh? Elder Song and the others were interested. It seems that this child's talent is amazing. I hope he can shine in the battle of the inscription tower. While they were talking, Lin Xian and the others had already begun to move. The disciples held their breaths and carefully watched the 5 people on the stage. They didn't want to miss a single detail. Lin Xian calmed himself down and carefully drew the inscription. He didn't dare to be careless. Compared to the previous examination, the difficulty of this examination was nearly 10 times higher. This was also the reason why there were so few second-grade inscriptionists. It was just too difficult. Lin Xian pushed his soul force to the limit, controlling the inscription. Huang Shanshan also had a dignified expression. Sweat seeped out of her delicate face. Zhou Yong and the other 2 were sweating profusely, their faces pale. The mysterious inscriptions in the air were like a bottomless pit, absorbing their soul force. Time slowly passed. 5 inscriptions appeared in the sky. One could vaguely make out a pattern, but it wasn't complete. Among them, Huang Shanshan had completed about 70%, Lin Xian had completed half, Zhou Yong had completed about 60%, and the remaining 2 had completed about 40%. Ka. Like a piece of jade shattering, a crisp sound rang out in the air. One person's inscription cracked and shattered with a bang. The youth closest to him was affected, and his inscription was instantly scattered. Lin Xian and the others were also affected. The inscription in the sky seemed as if it would scatter at any time. This change was unexpected. Originally, the inscription process needed to be absolutely safe and not be disturbed by the outside world. Otherwise, the possibility of failure was very high. Lin Xian's soul force intertwined, constantly stabilizing the inscription while continuing to draw. Huang Shanshan and Zhou Yong were protecting the inscription with all their might, not daring to be distracted. Elder Song and the others looked at the arena with a trace of worry on their faces. Lin Xian's technique is very special. It doesn't seem to be a common technique in the Xia Kingdom. Elder Song was surprised to see Lin Xian continue to draw while protecting the inscription. I heard that he has a master who doesn't appear in the world, but I don't know the details, Deacon Wang quickly said, but he is a disciple of the Sword Pool Mansion's Lin family. His identity is very clear, and he can participate in the battle of the inscription tower. Yes, I also heard about this, Deacon Ming said from the side. Just as the 3 of them were talking, the atmosphere in the arena finally calmed down. Huang Shanshan and Zhou Yong heaved a sigh of relief, but their expressions changed again. This was because they saw that Lin Xian's inscription was almost complete. Chapter 2:14. Lin Xian's speed was so fast that Huang Shanshan and Zhou Yong's expressions changed. Damn it, how can this kid be so fast? Zhou Yong's face was gloomy as he started to inscribe. Huang Shanshan also took a deep breath. She no longer paid attention to anything else and focused on drawing. The difference in performance was obvious. At least in terms of mental fortitude, Huang Shanshan was much stronger than Zhou Yong. In the end, Lin Xian was the first to finish inscribing. He continued to refine the second-grade elixir calmly. Huang Shanshan was the second to finish inscribing. She had already regained her composure. Zhou Yong was the last to finish. His face was ferocious as he looked at Lin Xian coldly. After 2 hours, the 3 of them finished inscribing. Elder Song and the rest walked over in anticipation and started to examine the 3 elixirs. They were most concerned about Huang Shanshan, so they were the first to examine her elixir. Not bad. The color is still a little rough, but it is a genuine second-grade elixir. Shanshan, you passed. Hearing this, the silver-robed woman's face finally showed a trace of joy. Then, Elder Song and the rest looked at Zhou Yong. The purity is not enough. and the fire is still lacking. I was a little impatient, Elder Song said in a low voice. Deacon Wang and Deacon Ming sighed and shook their heads slightly. What? Zhou Yong did not pass. The surrounding disciples were also stunned. They had a new understanding of the second-grade inscriptionist examination. Zhou Yong's face was gloomy. He bowed to the three elders unwillingly and clenched his fist without saying a word. At this moment, everyone looked at Lin Xian. He definitely won't pass. Didn't you see that even a genius like Zhou Yong failed? Most people were not optimistic about Lin Xian. Even Zhao Shui was a little worried. After all, a second-grade inscriptionist's soul power did not mean that he could become a second-grade inscriptionist. There were also many factors such as technique, proficiency, experience, and many others. It's a spiritual liquid. Elder Song was surprised. Previously, Shanshan and Zhou Yong were both refining elixirs. They did not expect Lin Xian to know how to refine spiritual liquid. In essence, there was no difference between the two. He opened the cork, and a mellow fragrance wafted out. Everyone was a little puzzled and subconsciously sniffed a few times. Isn't this wine? Could it be that this brat refined a pot of wine? I've already said that this brat is unreliable. Zhou Yong smelled the fragrance of the wine, and his heart calmed down slightly. Finally, he wasn't the only one who had failed. Elder Song and the others didn't pay much attention to this. The three of them checked carefully. The expressions of the three of them gradually turned solemn, and their eyes were filled with shock. In the end, Elder Song took a deep breath and said, "A second-grade spirit liquid, and a top-grade one at that." What? Everyone was stunned. They didn't expect this result. Second-grade spiritual liquid, and it's of superior quality. Zhou Yong felt his vision darken and nearly fainted. He did not think that the brat that he had always looked down on was actually even stronger than Shanshan. Shanshan's body was also tense, her beautiful eyes fixed on Lin Xian. At this moment, the others also reacted and looked at Lin Xian in shock. Elder Song's eyes flashed. A 17-year-old second-grade inscriber. You're the first one in Xia country. I was just lucky. Lin Xian smiled and bowed to the three seniors. As a second-grade inscriber of the Inscription Alliance, you'll be protected by the Inscription Alliance. Correspondingly, you'll also have to complete some tasks. Every year, you'll refine 3 elixirs or weapons for the Inscription Alliance for free of charge. Elder Song said loudly. Lin Xian and the others knew about this, so they didn't have much of a reaction. After registering his information, Lin Xian received the silver robe of the Inscription Alliance. Lin Xian, you're very talented. I hope we can exchange our experiences. Huang Shanshan smiled. Senior Huang, you're too polite. Lin Xian said lightly. When there's a chance, I'll definitely have a good exchange with you. After saying that, he left with Zhao Shui. Everyone was stunned. Their goddess, Shanshan, had actually invited Lin Xian. Many disciples were heartbroken. Zhou Yong's face turned black, and his body trembled. However, what surprised them even more was that Lin Xian had actually rejected her. Huang Shanshan's face stiffened. In the past, she had always rejected others. This time, she finally tasted the feeling of being rejected. She stopped smiling and walked towards Elder Song and the others. Outside the Inscription Alliance, the warriors of the Xing family were waiting anxiously. Are you sure that the lad went in? The bald man asked. Yes, I saw it with my own eyes. The warrior under him said, Good. This time we can't let them escape. The bald man said darkly, Big brother, that lad has come out. Xing Tong, who was wearing a cloak, stared at the door fiercely. Be careful. Don't fight at the door of the Inscription Alliance. We'll fight him when he comes out. A group of people hid behind the building and waited patiently. Lin Xian noticed the presence of these people. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly as he slowly walked over. Zhao Shui followed behind him with a smile on her face. She was not worried about Lin Xian at all. In the entire Xing family, no one would dare to attack a second-grade inscriber. The two of them walked at a steady pace. Suddenly, dozens of warriors rushed out from both sides and surrounded them. Everyone's aura was very strong. It formed an invisible pressure that pressed down on the two of them. However, their pressure was like a stone sinking into the sea. It had no effect at all. How dare you attack an inscriber? Lin Xian said slowly. The bald man was stunned. Suddenly, his pupils shrank. He saw a golden pattern on Zhao Shui's chest, a first-grade inscriber. The warriors were shocked. The aura on their bodies disappeared quickly. Big brother. Xing Tong shouted anxiously while wearing a cloak. Big brother Zhou Yong is also participating in the inscriber examination today. Maybe he's already a second-grade inscriber. When the time comes, are we afraid of a first-grade inscriber? Everyone's eyes lit up when they heard this. They could not afford to offend a first-grade inscriber. However, if a second-grade inscriber supported them, it would be different. One had to know that the difference in status between the two was like heaven and earth. Surround them and wait for Zhou Yong to arrive, the bald man said in a low voice. Are you sure? Lin Xian asked. If you anger us, the Xing family will be in big trouble. Kid, you don't have to scare me. The bald man sneered. We still have a few first-grade inscribers. Big brother Zhou Yong is here. Xing Tong shouted happily. You two are dead. I'll make you my slaves, and you'll never be able to rise again. Brother Zhou, you're here. The bald man welcomed him with a smile. Zhou Yong did not pass the examination and was in a bad mood. He said a few words calmly and prepared to leave. Big brother Zhou, these two guys hurt me. You have to help me. Xing Tong screamed. Zhou Yong frowned and looked in front of him. In the crowd, Lin Xian and Zhao Shui were surrounded. They were looking at him with half-smiles. Chapter 2:15. Zhou Yong's face twisted when he saw Lin Xian. However, when he thought of Lin Xian's status as a second-grade inscription master, he sighed. He could not afford to offend Lin Xian unless his master intervened. Big brother Zhou, you must have become a second-grade inscription master. Help me teach them a lesson. Xing Tong was still shouting. However, when they saw the golden pattern on Zhou Yong's chest, they were stunned. Brother Zhou, could it be that you? The bald man said doubtfully. I'm sorry, everyone. I can't do anything about this. Zhou Yong sighed. Lord Lin Xian, this has nothing to do with me. He cupped his fists and said to Lin Xian, Lord Lin? The surrounding martial artists were stunned and looked at Lin Xian in confusion. Someone who could be addressed as Lord by Zhou Yong was definitely not a simple person. Could it be that Lin Xian had an extraordinary background? The bald man suddenly had a bad premonition. He was about to ask when he realized that Zhou Yong had already run away. Lin Xian flipped his palm and put on his silver robe. The two golden patterns on his chest were as dazzling as swords. Second-grade inscription master. The Xing family martial artist's expressions changed, and the bald man almost jumped up. They never would have thought that Lin Xian was a second-grade inscription master. No wonder Lin Xian was not afraid of them. No wonder Zhou Yong called him Lord Lin Xian. Everything was clear now. It's a misunderstanding, Lord Lin. It's a misunderstanding. The bald man immediately smiled. They could not afford to offend a second-grade inscription master. Hurry up and disperse. If you block Lord Lin's path, I'll kill you. Lord Lin, take care. We'll leave now. The bald man nodded and bowed, preparing to leave. Wait, Lin Xian said in a low voice. You want to leave? Everyone stiffened and reluctantly stopped in their tracks. The bald man gritted his teeth and threw Xing Tong in front of Lin Xian. Then, he punched and kicked him. You piece of trash, how dare you offend Lord Lin? You're courting death. Xing Tong twitched, clutching his head and screaming. He wanted to die now. A second-grade inscription master could kill him in the blink of an eye. Lord Lin, I was wrong. I was blind. I deserve to die. Xing Tong began to slap himself. Lord Lin, please let me go. It's done, Lin Xian said calmly. It's not impossible to let you go, but it depends on whether you are sincere. Lord Lin, feel free to instruct us. The Xing family will definitely get it done for you. The bald man hurriedly said. Xing Tong also looked at Lin Xian with hope. Lin Xian took out a piece of paper and wrote down a bunch of spiritual grasses. I'll give you 3 days to gather everything on the list and send it to the volcano cultivation room. The bald man took the paper and glanced at it. Seeing that it was full of precious spirit herbs, he immediately felt distressed. However, he couldn't show it on his face. If I don't see anything in 3 days, I'll have to make a trip to the Xing family. At that time, don't blame me for not giving you a chance, Lin Xian said calmly. Lord Lin, don't worry. We'll definitely deliver it, the bald man quickly said and left with the group. Lin Xian smiled as he watched the group leave. He then walked towards the volcano cultivation room with Zhao Shui. He entered the cultivation room again. This time, he wanted to remove the mark of the purple demon palace. He constantly scanned his body with his soul power. With Lord Alcohol's guidance, he finally found the mark. It was a purple dot of light the size of a needle. It was hidden deep within his body. In the past, Lin Xian wouldn't have been able to discover it. However, now that his soul power had increased, it was easy for him to find it. His soul power transformed into an invisible sword aura and pierced out, shattering the purple out of light. Golden lightning surged, forming a sphere that wrapped around it and sent it out of his body. After removing the purple dot of light, Lin Xian felt much more comfortable. Even the circulation of his spiritual power was much smoother. He closed his eyes and rested for a while. After adjusting his condition to its peak, he took out a huge block of ice. Cold air surged out, and the entire room seemed to be frozen. Inside the blue block of ice, the azure-haired man was motionless. However, Lin Xian could clearly feel that the azure-haired man's aura was still fluctuating. It's been so long, but he hasn't frozen to death? Lin Xian was surprised. With your current strength, you should be able to use the slave seal, Lord Alcohol said slowly. Do as I say. Lin Xian nodded. His soul power surged out and seeped into the ice block. When it came into contact with the azure-haired man, the latter's tightly shut eyes suddenly opened. Green flames danced in his eye sockets. Seal. Lin Xian's soul power surged into the azure-haired man's mind, forming a strange seal. Ka. The green flames in the azure-haired man's eyes danced. A terrifying aura spread out, causing cracks to appear on the ice block. Soul Sword. A translucent sword beam surged out of Lin Xian's left eye, penetrating the ice block and entering the azure-haired man's soul. Chi. Immediately, the green flames in the azure-haired man's eyes weakened significantly. As for Lin Xian's slave seal, it was successfully imprinted in his mind. It's a success. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. Cloud Prefecture, underwater world. In a huge crack, there was a palace. Inside the palace, the bronze coffin suddenly trembled as a terrifying aura spread out in all directions. The waves at the bottom of the sea churned, forming a huge whirlpool that seemed to tear everything apart. Slave seal. A deep voice came from the coffin. In the cultivation room, Lin Xian released the azure-haired man and stared at him cautiously. Master. Inscriptions appeared in the azure-haired man's eyes. Okay. Lin Xian nodded in satisfaction. From the looks of it, the slave seal was indeed useful. Suddenly, the azure-haired man's body stiffened as the green flames in his eyes burned again. This is his true body summoning you. Quickly use your sword intent to sever this connection, reminded Lord Alcohol. Lin Xian's eyes focused as his sword intent surged. A sharp sword beam slashed out into the void. With the invisible connection severed, the azure-haired man regained his calm. All right, there won't be any accidents this time. Cloud Prefecture, underwater. The deep voice sounded again. Great Dragon Sword, cultivation room. Lin Xian exhaled and asked in a deep voice, Who are you? I'm your servant, said the azure-haired man. I'm asking who you were before. Or should I say, who is your true body? Left Azure WIRM Envoy, said the azure-haired man. What's your relationship with the Nether Hall? Lin Xian continued asking. The Nether Hall is one of the 8 halls of our sect, said the azure-haired man slowly. One of the 8 halls. Lin Xian's pupils constricted. According to what he knew, the Nether Hall had once controlled several countries and was abnormally powerful. But now, it was only one of the halls. What sect? Tell me everything you know. Lin Xian said in a deep voice. The Nether Hall belongs to the Black Dragon sect. It's one of the weaker halls. The Hall Master is Old Man Nether, who has reached the earthly supremacy realm. Our sect's leader, the Black Dragon sect's leader, has boundless magic power. He's like a true god. He has 2 envoys, for guardians, and 8 hall masters. All of them are powerful. Chapter 216. The blue-haired man told him some basic information. He didn't know anything else. However, this was normal. He was just a doppelganger. It was already good enough that he knew so much. After Lin Xian heard this, his heart trembled. He realized that the Black Dragon cult was too powerful. Any random hall master could sweep through several countries. Moreover, he knew that there was a hall called the Purple Demon Hall, which was very similar to the Purple Demon Palace. Recently, the Nether Hall had been very active. Moreover, there was a suspicious sect like the Purple Demon Palace. Could it be that the Black Dragon cult was going to revive? Lin Xian was shocked. If this kind of power revived, it would definitely cause trouble for the entire continent. The Black Dragon cult wasn't a benevolent sect. Once they revived, there would definitely be a great war. It was useless to think about this now. It was better to increase his strength first. Lin Xian sighed. Then, he put away the blue-haired man and started to cultivate. 5 days passed quickly. On this day, the bald man brought a few followers to the volcano cultivation room. They asked Lin Xian about the cultivation time and then waited patiently outside. The martial artists who came and went were puzzled. Many of them secretly guessed that the Xing clan must be waiting for some big shot. However, when they saw the bald man welcome Lin Xian, they almost bit off their tongues. For a moment, many martial artists were very curious about Lin Xian's identity. 4th sky of the spiritual sea realm. Is that normal? Why is the Xing clan so humble? Many people were puzzled. Lord Lin, everything is here. Please take a look. The bald man handed over a storage ring. Lin Xian scanned it with his soul power and found that it was the spirit herbs he was looking for. He immediately nodded in satisfaction. Oh right, where can I find high-grade fire attribute spirit herbs in the fire province? Lin Xian asked. High-grade fire attribute spirit herbs? The bald man was slightly stunned. Then, he said, there is a piece of news. Is it true? Speak. Lin Xian said in a deep voice. It's like this. Recently, a piece of news has been spreading in the city. It is said that there is a volcano 500 miles north of Flame City. There is a bright glow and a strange fragrance. Many people think that it is a peerless spirit herb. Multicolored light, strange fragrance. Lin Xian rubbed his chin, somewhat convinced. Big head Xing, your Xing family has really declined, actually speaking so humbly to a piece of trash in the 4th layer of the spiritual ocean tier. A mocking voice rang out. It was extremely ear-piercing. The bald, burly man raised his head abruptly and said coldly, Lai Wu, how dare you speak rudely to Lord Lin? You're courting death. Lord Lin, what bullsh asterisk T-Lord? That voice was full of disdain. Lin Xian raised his head and stared coldly ahead. There was a red-robed young man standing there. He held a folding fan in his hand and looked at the bald man and Lin Xian with disdain. The 6th layer of the spiritual ocean tier. Is this what gives you the right to be so arrogant? The corner of Lin Xian's mouth raised slightly. It's enough to deal with you. I can crush you to death as easily as crushing an ant. The red-robed youth waved his fan and said arrogantly, Lai Wu, you're really courting death. Big Head Xing sneered. Our Lord Lin is a 2nd-grade inscription master. Quickly kowtow and admit your mistake. 2nd-grade inscription master. The surrounding martial artists were stunned. That was an existence on the same level as a harmonious spirit realm expert. Really? Isn't he too young? The crowd was in disbelief. Lai Wu froze, then laughed loudly. I say, Big Head Xing, will you die if you don't brag? If he's a 2nd-grade inscription master, then I'm a harmonious spirit realm expert. Lai Wu was extremely arrogant, laughing until tears came out. But soon, he couldn't laugh anymore, and his handsome face became extremely ugly, because he saw Lin Xian slowly put on his silver-white robe. The 2 golden lines on his chest were like sharp blades, stabbing into his heart. You. Lai Wu opened his mouth but couldn't say anything. The surrounding martial artists were also shocked, looking at Lin Xian with disbelief. This was probably the youngest 2nd-grade inscription master they'd ever seen. Lai Wu, quickly admit your mistake to Lord Lin. The bald man coldly shouted. The red-robed youth's expression was conflicted, and he was stunned for a moment. A second-grade inscription master. Is that so great? A slightly frivolous voice sounded. The crowd was stunned. There was actually someone who dared to challenge a second-grade inscription master. That was too daring. Big Head Xing frowned, and just as he was about to shout, he was stopped by Lin Xian. Under the crowd's attention, a devilish man appeared. He was wearing a purple robe, with a handsome face and fair skin, but his lips were as red as blood. Many people wiped the cold sweat off their foreheads, feeling their hearts palpitate. He's from the Purple Extreme Demon Palace, Zhao Shui transmitted. The third in the younger generation of the Purple Extreme Demon Palace, Ru Shui. Lin Xian was secretly on guard. His intuition told him that the man in front of him was very dangerous. Lord Ru Shui, you've come at the right time. Lai Wu walked to Ru Shui's side as if he saw his savior. Since I'm here, I can guarantee that you'll be fine. Ru Shui's red lips did not move, but a feminine voice came out. So what if you're a second-grade inscription master? In front of Lord Ru Shui, you're nothing? Lai Wu became arrogant again. Is that so? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and stared at Lai Wu. Wang. Lai Wu's body trembled, and he felt dizzy. The scene around him changed, and countless swords pierced his heart. That kind of pain made him want to die. Pa. A hand was placed on his body, pulling him back from the illusion. Lai Wu's whole body was covered in sweat, and his face was abnormally pale. He looked at Lin Xian in fear. Your opponent is me. Ru Shui's mouth curved into an evil smile, and his lips became even more red, as if blood was about to drip out. Ding, bang, crack. Their gazes met, and sparks flew in the air, causing the void to tremble. The two of you are not allowed to use martial arts in the cultivation area, so please restrain yourselves. A mighty wave of spiritual energy came, as if 100,000 mountains were pressing down on everyone's hearts. It's a harmonious spirit expert. Someone shouted in a low voice. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. He felt that the energy did not really descend, but it was just a warning. After fighting with the Tsang family's great elder, Lin Xian knew how terrifying a harmonious spirit expert was. He did not want to fight with such a person now, and there was no need for him to offend the volcano cultivation area. Sorry for the disturbance. I'll take my leave now, Lin Xian said loudly, and then left with Zhao Shui. On the other side, Ru Shui looked at Lin Xian, and his eyes revealed a trace of coldness. Let's go. Don't delay our business. Ru Shui smiled evilly. Hearing this, Lai Wu nodded. My father is ready. Why don't you follow me back? Ru Shui shook his sleeve and turned into a cloud of blood mist and left. After they left, the surrounding people let out a sigh of relief. That demonic man is so scary. Someone patted his chest and said, that young man called Lord Lin is not simple either. Such a young second-grade inscription master. He is definitely a demonic existence. I heard that a divine medicine has appeared in the north. Do you think that these people will appear? That's for sure. Someone was excited. I have to go back and prepare. I can't miss such a good thing. After leaving the cultivation room, Lin Xian and Zhao Shui left the city, and the two of them headed towards the volcano cultivation area in the north. Chapter 217. After traveling a few hundred miles, Lin Xian stopped in his tracks. In front of him was a group of volcanoes that towered into the clouds. A few of them were still emitting smoke. Feeling the rising temperature in the air, Lin Xian's eyes narrowed and he became cautious. With his purple spirit eyes, he could clearly see that there were many martial artists at the foot of the volcano. Among them, there were a few powerful auras that made his heart palpitate. It seems that the news is most likely true, Zhao Shui said softly. Let's go and take a look. Lin Xian's footsteps swayed as he ran forward quickly. At the foot of the volcano, the ground was cracked and the heat was unbearable. It was like a huge furnace that was roasting everything. There were many martial artists nearby. Among them, the most powerful were the Xing and Lai families. The two families each occupied an area and were eyeing covetously. There were also many martial artists who were wandering around, waiting for the right opportunity. With the Xing and Lai families here, we have no chance at all. someone complained softly. What do you know? Another martial artist shouted. This treasure has already alerted the other forces in the fire state. When the time comes, not only the Xing and Lai families, but even the entire blazing city will not be able to compete. How is that possible? Someone asked. If the Earth Fire sect were to come, would you be afraid? Many martial artists shut their mouths. That was a third-rank sect, a giant in Xia country. Who wouldn't be afraid? Someone is coming. Many martial artists woke up from their meditation and looked towards the entrance. Two silhouettes could be seen rushing over. Their speed was so fast that it was frightening. Swoosh! The two of them stopped in their tracks and looked around cautiously. Everyone looked at the silver robes on their bodies, and they were slightly shocked. They are from the Inscription Union. Some martial artists took a deep breath. Then, many people exclaimed, and some even stood up. This was because they saw two golden tattoos on the chest of one of the young men. A second-rank inscription master. Many martial artists were shocked. They could not imagine that a young man would have such a terrifying identity. Then, people from the Xing and Lai families walked out and cupped their fists at Lin Xian. This young man was naturally Lin Xian. He returned the greeting and brought Zhao Xue to a clean rock to rest temporarily. Wuji Wuji. The snow-white monkey jumped out and looked around curiously with its big, black, gem-like eyes. Suddenly, its nose twitched, and an intoxicated expression appeared on its face. After making a bunch of gestures to Lin Xian, the little white monkey disappeared with a whoosh. Lin Xian didn't mind. The little white monkey was far more shrewd than he thought, so he was very relieved. His eyes flickered as he looked at the volcano ahead. As time passed, the bald man from the Xing family arrived. Not long after, Lai Wu and Ru Xue also arrived. The latter stared at Lin Xian, and the coldness in his eyes grew even stronger. Lin Xian ignored the provocative gaze. If the other party really dared to make a move, he wouldn't mind giving them a taste of their own medicine. The people from the Inscription Union are here. Suddenly, someone called out in a low voice. Silhouettes flashed, and more than 10 white-robed warriors appeared in front of everyone. Immediately, a tyrannical pressure emerged in the air. Elder Song didn't come. The leaders were Deacon Wang and Deacon Ming. Behind them were Huang Shanshan and some other young disciples. Deacon Wang saw Lin Xian on the giant rock, and his face lit up with joy. He then led the crowd over. Seniors. Lin Xian smiled and greeted Huang Shanshan. You are already a second-grade inscription master. From now on, we can call each other as equals. Deacon Wang shook his head and smiled. Lin Xian smiled. This was a world where strength was respected, and the age issue could be ignored. In other words, if Lin Xian was a harmonious spirit realm warrior, then these people would respectfully call him senior. Lin Xian didn't dwell on this issue, and quickly asked, What's the situation here? It should be the birth of a spirit herb, but we can't rule out other possibilities. Deacon Wang said in a deep voice, I don't think there will be a harmonious spirit realm old monster. Oh? Lin Xian's heart skipped a beat. That kind of expert's destructive power is too great. I think the whole mountain will be destroyed with just one attack. Moreover, almost every force has a harmonious spirit realm expert behind them. If they want to fight, everyone will fight. Rather than that, it's better to not fight and leave it to the younger generation. This way, the younger generation can also be trained. Lin Xian nodded in agreement. The destructive power of a harmonious spirit realm warrior was indeed too great. He had experienced it firsthand. In the following time, more and more forces arrived. A strange fragrance floated in the air, and half of the volcano was shrouded in multicolored light. Wuji Wuji. Suddenly, a snow-white figure flashed across the sky and ran directly into Lin Xian's arms. Swoosh swoosh. Behind it were a few figures with sharp auras. Swoosh. With a flash, a cute girl appeared. Her beautiful big eyes stared at the snow-white little monkey in Lin Xian's arms, and she frowned slightly. Hey, is that monkey yours? Are you selling it? The girl asked in a sweet voice. Wuji Wuji. The snow-white little monkey jumped out with a disdainful expression. It kept gesturing something. What is it saying? The crowd was puzzled. I am the one and only in the world. I cannot be measured by money. Lin Xian shrugged and translated for the little monkey. Many people looked at the palm-sized monkey with a strange expression and couldn't help but laugh. "Little monkey, I have a spirit fruit for you." The cute girl took out a fist-sized fruit and shook it in front of the little monkey. The fruit was crystal clear. It was obviously not an ordinary fruit. Immediately, many people's eyes flashed and stared at the cute girl with an unfriendly expression. The cute girl didn't seem to feel those gazes. She saw the little monkey take 2 steps forward and take out an agate-like fruit. Whoosh! Many people's breathing became rapid. Most of them stared at the spirit fruit in the cute girl's hand with burning eyes. Humph! A cold snort was heard. It exploded in everyone's ears and woke many of the warriors up. Unknowingly, a short old man appeared behind the cute girl. His body emitted a dangerous aura. Everyone's body trembled, and the evil thoughts in their hearts instantly disappeared. The cute girl didn't seem to know anything and continued to call out to the little monkey. Swish! The little monkey couldn't resist the temptation and jumped onto the cute girl's body. It held the spirit fruit and ate it with a smile. Everyone had different expressions. Their eyes were filled with envy. Many people wished they could become monkeys and pounce on it. The cute girl glanced at Lin Xian provocatively and snorted with her delicate little nose. "If it wants to go with you, I won't stop it." Lin Xian shrugged. The short old man behind the cute girl looked at Lin Xian in surprise. He didn't expect this young man to be so straightforward. The cute girl hugged the little monkey and sat to the side. Her expression was full of joy. At this time, many people arrived. There were a few fierce auras that made everyone feel a little apprehensive. Chapter 218. It's someone from the Earth Fire sect. Everyone panicked and retreated. From this point, one could see how terrifying a 3-star sect was. Just the arrival of a disciple could cause such a huge commotion. There were a total of 6 people from the Earth Fire sect. One of them was tall and had flames dancing on his body like a fire god. Meng Yin. Many warriors secretly swallowed their saliva as they looked at the flame-like man with fear. That was the genius warrior ranked first on the hidden dragon list. Lin Xian stared at the fiery figure and was slightly surprised. He realized that Meng Yan's aura had become even stronger, as expected of the first on the hidden dragon list. His cultivation speed is indeed terrifying. I wonder how strong Lin Feng is now? Lin Xian's heart sank as he felt the pressure once again. I have to get my hands on the spiritual herb this time. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. Growing in this volcano was definitely a fire elemental spiritual herb. It was just what he needed. With this fire elemental spiritual herb, he could let Lord Alcohol refine spiritual wine and increase his cultivation. With this in mind, Lin Xian's eyes gradually burned with passion. The Earth Fire sect martial artist found a comfortable place and sat down. Among them, Meng Yan's pupils constricted when he saw the silver-robed Lin Xian. A second-grade inscription master. He whispered as flames seemed to dance in his eyes. Nodding slightly, Meng Yan greeted Lin Xian. Lin Xian replied with a smile. Is he Lin Xian? Isn't he a sword cultivator? How did he become an inscription master? A fair-skinned youth beside Meng Yan was puzzled. It's getting more and more interesting. I'm looking forward to the moment when he duels with Lin Feng. Flames danced on Meng Yan's body as though he had thought of something interesting. No matter how powerful Sword Pool Manor is, they are still suppressed by us. The youth said disdainfully. One day, I will defeat them all. Meng Yan looked at the youth beside him and warned, You promised the sect master to listen to me. That's why I let you out. Don't cause trouble for me. Don't worry, eldest senior brother. That youth smiled and said, Dad is really too much. I'm not a child. This youth was actually the child of the Earth Fire sect's sect master. This was something that no one could have imagined. Hey, what a smart little monkey. The young man's eyes lit up when he saw the little white monkey in the distance. Beauty, my name is Zhu Hao. How should I address you? Everyone was stunned. They never thought that an Earth Fire sect martial artist would strike up a conversation like this. The short old man behind the cute girl stared at Zhu Hao with an unfriendly expression. His eyes were filled with warning. However, it was obvious that Zhu Hao had overlooked it. As if annoyed by the stare, the cute girl frowned and said, Jiang Ryue, good name. Zhu Hao shouted, then laughed strangely. Your monkey is not bad. How about you sell it to me? Black lines appeared on everyone's forehead. Wasn't this target changing too quickly? Jiang Ryue pouted and snorted. Not selling. After saying that, she hugged the little white monkey even tighter. I have something good. Zhu Hao ignored the cute girl and took out 2 bright red fruits, shaking them continuously. Everyone felt dizzy. There was an extremely familiar feeling. Swoosh. The little white monkey's body flashed and jumped onto Zhu Hao's body, making woo-ji-ji noises. Everyone was stunned and looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian smiled faintly and did not say anything. Damn monkey, you're ungrateful, Jiang Ryue said angrily. Woo-ji-ji. The little white monkey ate the spiritual fruit while showing an aggrieved expression. It kept gesturing something. Speaking of spiritual fruits, I have some too, Jiang Ryue said angrily. She flipped her hand and took out a few high-grade spiritual fruits. The snow-white little monkey ate happily, and its pair of big eyes narrowed into a crescent shape. Everyone's eyes were burning. They wished that they could be a monkey too. Meng Yin looked at Jiang Ryue and revealed a surprised expression. He knew that Zhu Hao had a special identity and had many spiritual fruits on him. However, the girl in front of him did not lose to Zhu Hao at all. After thinking for a long time, he still could not guess her identity. At this moment, the little white monkey's belly was bulging and it kept burping. It waved its little paws at Jiang Ryue and Zhu Hao. The little white monkey turned into a white light and returned to Lin Xian's side. Woo-ji-ji. The little white monkey sat on Lin Xian's shoulder and took out a few spiritual fruits and handed them to Lin Xian. You're full. Is this mine? Lin Xian said with a smile. You bastard. Zhu Hao and Jiang Ryue jumped up and stared at Lin Xian unkindly. Give me the little monkey. You're a bad guy. Everyone was stunned. When they thought of Lin Xian's indifference, they seemed to have thought of something. Even the people of the Inscription Union looked at Lin Xian in surprise. They did not expect things to turn out this way. I said that if it's willing to follow you, I won't stop it, Lin Xian said in a low voice. Now it seems that it's unwilling to go with you. Nonsense. I'm so handsome. How can it not like me? Zhu Hao's face turned cold. That's right. I still have a lot of spiritual fruits, Jiang Ryue said angrily. Whoosh. With a flash, the little white monkey directly entered the storage ring and went to sleep. Give me the little monkey. Zhu Hao was proud and arrogant. He had never suffered such a loss before. He stomped his feet and the ground bulged slightly. A hot current gushed out quickly. Retreat. Deacon Wang and Deacon Ming's faces changed. They quickly led the disciples around them to dodge. Lin Xian's eyes narrowed, and he floated to a place where there was no one. Boom. The ground cracked and a red light beam rushed out. The place where Lin Xian and the others were standing turned into a sea of fire. The surrounding cultivators sucked in a breath of cold air as they looked at Zhu Hao with fear. Who would have thought that this young man could have such terrifying attack power? This attack has the power of the sixth sky of the spiritual ocean tier. Everyone retreated, afraid of being affected. Swish. After his attack failed, Zhu Hao's body flashed and rushed toward Lin Xian. Great flame steel fist. With a punch, his arm turned into a glazed color. Flames soared into the sky, and heat waves swept out in all directions. A terrifying aura rushed toward Lin Xian. Sixth sky of the spiritual ocean tier. Lin Xian was surprised. He did not expect this young man's cultivation to be so high. He glanced at Meng Yin and saw that the latter was not worried at all. With such strength, he was probably in the top 20 of the hidden dragon roll. No wonder Meng Yin was not worried. Lin Xian smiled. Just nice to test the power of the copper thunder pattern. Without any intention of dodging, Lin Xian stretched out his right hand. His 5 fingers formed a claw as he grabbed at the fiery red fist. Everyone was stunned. Lin Xian's aura was only in the 4th sky of the spiritual ocean tier. It was very unwise to fight a martial artist in the 6th sky of the spiritual ocean tier. What is Lin Xian thinking? Deacon Ming and the other martial artists of the Inscription League changed their expressions. On the other side, the martial artists of the Earth Fire sect sneered when they saw this scene. What an idiot. This Great Flame Steel Fist is a middle spirit tier martial art, and junior apprentice brother Zhu has practiced it to the small success stage. Normal 6 Sky of the Spiritual Ocean tier martial artists would not dare to take this punch, let alone a 4th Sky of the Spiritual Ocean tier martial artist. Chapter 219. The Earth Fire Sect warriors looked at Lin Xian with disdain. When Zhu Hao saw Lin Xian's actions, he was also taken aback. However, his fist still shot out quickly. "Get lost," he shouted. "This is not something you can handle." Lin Xian's expression did not change as he quickly reached out with his palm. Boom, boom, boom. A shockwave exploded, shattering the surrounding mountain rocks. Everyone looked over anxiously, and many of them exclaimed. Among them, the Earth Fire Sect had the biggest reaction. A few warriors stood up with looks of disbelief. How can you handle it?" Zhu Hao's face was pale. His fist was tightly gripped, and he could not move. In the arena, Lin Xian stood with a smile. One of his palms was blocking the fiery red fist, neutralizing the violent punch. Open! Zhu Hao suddenly exerted his strength. The spiritual energy in his body surged like flames. Stimulated by the flames, Lin Xian's body surface was covered in copper lightning patterns. It was extremely mysterious and emitted a terrifying energy. What move is this? The crowd did not understand as they looked curiously at Lin Xian. When Meng Yin saw the lightning, his eyes narrowed, revealing a grave expression. Zhu Hao did not give up. His left fist quickly struck towards Lin Xian's lower ribs. At such a close distance, there was no time to defend. The fiery red fist was like a small sun, bursting with dazzling light. Boom! A loud sound was heard. Flames danced and lightning overflowed. The ground cracked and the earth trembled. Magma spewed out from the surroundings. After receiving such a heavy attack, he's definitely dead, Lai Wu said hatefully. Beside him, Ru Shui had a sinister smile on his face. No one knew what he was thinking. Ouch! It hurts. An exasperated voice was heard, with a hint of indignation. Hearing this voice, the Earth Fire Sect disciples' expressions changed. Even Meng Yin stood up. Whoosh! A figure flew out and landed near the Earth Fire Sect. He kept retreating, and every step he took left a terrifying footprint on the ground. Meng Yin reached out and caught the figure. Pain, pain. Zhu Hao's face fell as he kept rubbing his fists. Everyone was stunned and looked at Lin Xian in horror. The scene just now was blocked by the magma, so they didn't know what had happened. Lai Wu looked at Lin Xian with fear in his eyes. His blood-red eyes flashed and a rare solemn expression appeared on his face. The people of the Inscription Alliance were the most horrified. They had sensed the scene with their souls, and a horrified expression appeared on their faces. Just now, Zhu Hao's fist had landed squarely on Lin Xian's body. However, it didn't cause any damage. Not only that, it even injured Zhu Hao. This kind of method was too terrifying. Even a martial artist at the 6th Sky of the Spiritual Ocean tier couldn't injure Lin Xian, which was hard to believe. What a powerful copper thunder pattern! Lin Xian was excited. He had risked his life to snatch the thunder python skin from a harmonious spirit expert and successfully refined the copper thunder mark. Now, it was finally showing its effect. He estimated that ordinary martial artists below the 7th Sky of the Spiritual Ocean tier wouldn't be able to injure him. Lin Xian had a rough guess in his heart. However, this was only limited to ordinary martial arts. For some genius martial artists who had comprehended sword intent or concept, it was very likely to injure them. However, this didn't affect the power of the copper thunder pattern. After all, there were only a small number of such martial artists. How powerful would the silver thunder pattern and gold thunder pattern be? Lin Xian didn't dare to imagine. I'll teach you a lesson. Seeing Lin Xian smile, Zhang Ruyue was instantly enraged. Her delicate face was covered with coldness. Her graceful body flashed and disappeared from the spot. So fast, everyone was shocked again. They couldn't see Zhang Ruyue's movement at all. Swoosh! Lin Xian used the wind thunder step and disappeared from the spot. In the next moment, he reappeared in another place. Damn it! Don't run! Zhang Ruyue shouted angrily as she missed. Lin Xian rubbed his chin helplessly and nodded. All right, I won't run. I'll beat you to death, you big liar. Jiang Riyue formed a strange seal with her palms and raised it above her head. A simple and unadorned water bottle appeared in her hand. Thousands of rays of light fell from the bottle. A vicissitude aura rushed over, causing everyone's eyelids to twitch. What kind of move is this? It's so terrifying. The surrounding martial artists ran far away. Aquarius seal. Jiang Riyue shouted. She held the Aquarius in her hand and struck out a powerful attack. A silver waterfall flew towards Lin Xian like an upside-down waterfall. Wherever it passed, the mountain was sliced in half. Clang, clang. The silver waterfall slashed on Lin Xian's body, creating a string of sparks. The lightning on the surface of Lin Xian's body shone brightly as streaks of mysterious lightning patterns appeared, forming a strong defense that forcefully blocked the silver waterfall. Break! Lin Xian bellowed as he punched out with his fist, bringing along a flash of lightning as it collided with the silver waterfall. Crack! 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 Like a mirror, the silver waterfall shattered into countless pieces. What a perverted defense! Jiang Riyue cursed softly. What a tortoise shell. If you're done, go back. I don't have time to play with you, Lin Xian said indifferently. You. Jiang Riyue was furious. Who's done? Let's attack together, Zhu Hao said with a cold face. The two of them turned into two rays of light and rushed towards Lin Xian. At the same time, they struck out a powerful attack. Lin Xian stomped on the ground. The lightning under his feet turned into several dragons. The terrifying force caused the ground to crack. Rumble. Within a radius of 50 meters, the ground cracked into countless pieces. Magma gushed out from the ground, emitting a terrifying heat wave. At the same time, the dragons formed by the lightning roared at the sky. Their momentum shook the sky and sent Zhu Hao and Jiang Riyue flying. Swoosh! Swoosh! Meng Yin caught Zhu Hao. The short old man also retreated with Jiang Riyue. The magma under the ground kept rolling and flowing in all directions. While everyone was avoiding the magma, they looked at Lin Xian in horror and kept swallowing their saliva. Wasn't he an inscription master? How could he have such a strong physique? Everyone was puzzled. After a while, everything calmed down. The magma under the ground flowed out, revealing a hole. It was dark and exuded a terrifying heat. No one knew where it led to. Hey, there's a fragrance. Is the spiritual medicine inside? The martial artists of the Inscription Union were puzzled. They were the most sensitive to the smell of spiritual medicine. Deacon Wang and Deacon Ming looked at each other and did not dare to make a decision. Lin Xian, what do you think? Deacon Wang asked. As long as there's a chance, I'll go down and investigate. Lin Xian's voice was firm. The fire attribute spiritual medicine was very important to him, so he would not give it up. The martial artists of the other forces were also discussing with each other. Wuji Wuji. The little white monkey jumped out and grabbed Lin Xian's clothes, shaking it constantly. Got it. Lin Xian rubbed its head and said to Deacon Wang and the others, Seniors, I'll go in first. After that, he turned into a shadow and went in. Chapter 220. After entering the underground tunnel, Lin Xian felt a heat wave that was more than 1,000 degrees Celsius. The lightning patterns on his body glowed, forming a lightning defense that wrapped Lin Xian up. He was like a shooting star, falling down rapidly. Outside, a group of martial artists had uncertain gazes. We can't let that kid reap the benefits. Let's go in quickly. Earthfire Sect, Lai Family, and other factions quickly jumped in. On the Inscription Alliance's side, Attendant Wang and Attendant Ming looked at each other and made a decision. The underground is dangerous and unpredictable. Disciples below the 5th layer of the spiritual ocean tier shouldn't go. A few disciples walked out and stood to the side. Although they were unwilling, they knew it was for their own good. Just the heat wave alone wasn't something they could withstand. The others followed the two attendants and jumped down. Pong! Lin Xian landed on a rock stratum, causing countless cracks to appear. He used his purple spirit eyes to observe the surroundings. Wuji Wuji. The snow-white monkey jumped onto his shoulder and pointed ahead, crying nonstop. All right, I'll listen to you. Lin Xian smiled and quickly rushed forward. The ground was filled with fiery red magma that made sizzling sounds as he stepped on it. Lin Xian increased his speed and quickly passed through the scorching zone. Gradually, red plants appeared on both sides of the road, with agate-like fruits growing on them. It's a fire bodhi, Lord Alcohol exclaimed. Xiao Xuanzi, pick more. Lord Alcohol wants to brew wine. Lin Xian stopped in his tracks and quickly picked them up. These fruits were extremely hot. If not for Lin Xian's copper thunder pattern, it would have been difficult to pick them. On the other side, the snow-white monkey was also busy. A white light flashed, and a red fruit on a vine was gone. After a while, over 20 fire bodhi fruits were all picked. Lin Xian set off again. Not long after he left, the large group behind him arrived. There are plants, Life Family's martial artists exclaimed. This is an obvious sign of being picked. Could it be that the kid picked them? The faces of the martial artists were gloomy, and the Earth Fire sect martial artists were even more furious. They were fire attribute martial artists, so these fruits were like holy fruits to them. But now, they could only watch helplessly. Speed up, Meng Yan said in a low voice. He led the people from the Earth Fire sect and transformed into a beam of light as they quickly left. Let's go quickly. We can't let Lin Xian get hurt. The people of the Inscription Alliance also rushed forward quickly. On the side of the Life Family, Ru Shui left the group and turned into a bloody mist, disappearing quickly. The last ones to arrive were Jiang Ruyue and the Short Elder. It's actually a fire bodhi. The Short Elder was astonished. Then, he transplanted a few fire vines and put them into his storage ring. Jiang Ruyue blinked her big eyes and waited quietly for the old man. A moment later, the two of them set off again. There were 3 forks in the road ahead. Lin Xian's eyes flashed as he used his soul force to probe ahead. In the end, the 3 paths were exactly the same for at least 100 meters. Wuji Wuji. The little white monkey pointed at the path ahead with a confident look. Lin Xian did not hesitate. His body flashed and disappeared into the path. Not long after, the people behind also arrived at the intersection. Damn it, there are 3 paths. The people from the Lai family cursed. Let's split up. They split into 3 groups and entered the 3 paths. The disciples of the Earth Fire sect looked at Meng Yan and waited for his decision. Zhu Hao and I will take one path. The rest of you, don't split up and take the other path. Then, he led Zhu Hao into the path on the right. Let's take the left path, the remaining disciples of the Earth Fire sect said. The few of them also quickly disappeared. Whoosh! A cloud of red blood mist suddenly appeared and transformed into a human figure. Ru Shui licked her red lips and sensed the aura left in the air. Then, she sneered and entered the path in front. The people of the Inscription Alliance also split into 2 groups and walked into the left and right paths. Finally, the Short Elder and Jiang Ruyue entered the path in front. Lin Xian's path was unimpeded as he sped forward. On the ground, he discovered many red crystals that contained a surge of energy. This is a fire crystal. It's even more precious than a mid-grade spirit stone, Lord Alcohol said. Since it was good stuff, Lin Xian did not hold back. With a wave of his sleeve, all the fire crystals on the ground were taken away. Suddenly, his eyebrows twitched as he sensed a faint aura coming from behind him. Purple Extreme Devil Palace. Lin Xian sneered when he sensed the yin qi. Qi. Countless red threads flew out like fine sword marks and stabbed at Lin Xian. Lin Xian turned around and punched out. Thunder roared, and the fierce power of lightning formed a lightning dragon that swept in all directions. The dark red threads were all broken and drowned by the sea of lightning. Swoosh! The moment Lin Xian punched out, a red mist appeared behind him. A pale hand held a demonic dagger and stabbed at his back. Ding! The copper lightning runes on Lin Xian's body flourished and densely packed lightning runes appeared on his body. At the same time, he twisted his body and swept his right leg behind him like a heavenly saber. The dagger was blocked by the copper lightning runes, and Ru Shui turned into a bloody mist again. Lin Xian's right leg passed through the bloody mist without causing any damage. Whoosh! Whoosh! The bloody mist churned as Ru Shue's body appeared. Her red lips looked as if they were about to drip blood. Fire. She opened her mouth for the first time. As if there was an invisible magic, flames suddenly surged out from both sides of the passage. In an instant, the place turned into a sea of fire. Illusion. Lin Xian was vigilant. He had only seen eye techniques before, but he did not expect to see another soul technique this time. The sea of fire surged as if it wanted to devour Lin Xian. Whoosh! A sword beam rushed up and cut the sea of fire in half. Soul Sword. Ru Shui was shocked for the first time. Fire Beast Blood Devour. A drop of blood seemed to float out of her red lips and fell into the sea of fire. Roar. Suddenly, a low roar rang out. Dozens of ferocious and terrifying demonic beasts appeared in the surroundings. Flames danced on their bodies and huge beast claws pounced on Lin Xian. The soul sword waved again and killed all the demonic beasts near him. However, more and more flaming demonic beasts pounced over. Sword Spirit Space. Lin Xian's right eye emitted light and formed an independent spiritual world, sucking in all the demonic beasts in the sea of fire. The soul sword stabbed out again and quickly slashed at Ru Shui. Poof! Ru Shui clearly did not expect Lin Xian's soul attack to be so exquisite that it could destroy his flaming demonic beasts in an instant. In his carelessness, he was injured. His body swayed and the fire world retreated. Ru Shui stood in front of him with a pale face. "Let me show you my blood demon technique." Ru Shui stretched out her thumb and wiped her seductive red lips. Chapter 221. A drop of blood appeared in the air, carrying with it a boundless, murderous aura. Ru Shui's arms swayed as she whispered. The blood spread rapidly, forming a strange pattern. "Blood demon, come out." A low roar reverberated in the air, causing the void to vibrate with a buzzing sound. The pattern in the air shone brightly, emitting a dazzling red light. Then, a blood-red arm stretched out, like a demon returning from hell. Finally, a ferocious blood demon appeared in front of Lin Xian. The blood demon looked like a human, but it had 4 arms and a horn on its head. Blood dripped from its body. Ru Shui stood in the distance, her red lips slightly opened, emitting a strange sound wave. Buzz. The blood demon suddenly charged at Lin Xian. Its 4 arms waved nonstop, forming a sky full of fist shadows. Lin Xian punched out like a bolt of lightning. The terrifying energy hit the blood demon's body, causing ripples. A bowl-sized hole appeared on its body, but most of Lin Xian's fist power was absorbed by the flowing liquid on the blood demon's body. Moreover, the hole was healing quickly. Not only that, but the blood demon's greatest characteristic was that it was not afraid of pain. "It's a killing machine." Roar. The blood demon roared, and its 4 arms formed different shapes, forming a huge attack. Bang! Boom! Clang! Lin Xian attacked with all his might, clashing with the blood demon. Terrifying energy spread in all directions. For a moment, the two were in a deadlock. "Hee, I'm going to take your head." Ru Shui laughed evilly. "Oomph! Purple Extreme Demon Palace is nothing more than this." Lin Xian sneered. Lightning storm. Golden electric arcs surged. Strong winds blew, lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled. The blood demon was hit by the lightning and let out a scream. Sizzle, sizzle. Like ice meeting fire, it kept melting. Under the effect of the golden electric arcs, terrifying wounds appeared on the blood demon's body. Whoosh! The blood demon retreated and stood beside Ru Shui. "Impossible. My blood demon is not afraid of ordinary lightning." Ru Shui's face darkened as she looked at the golden electric arcs with fear. "How dare you hurt my blood demon? I'll kill you." "I've already killed quite a few disciples of the Purple Extreme Devil Palace. One more won't make a difference." Lin Xian said disdainfully. "Show me what you've got." "What? How dare you kill a disciple of my Devil Palace?" Ru Shui's pupils shrank. "I want to drink your blood, eat your flesh, and make you fall into hell forever." Fuse. His body flashed and turned into a cloud of blood mist that fused into the blood demon's body. Wong, Wong. In an instant, Two cold glints appeared in the blood demon's eye sockets. Ka ka ka. The blood demon shook its body, and the wound caused by the golden lightning are quickly healed. Not only that, the aura on his body was much more powerful, almost reaching the 7th layer of the spiritual ocean tier. Now, I won't be afraid of your golden lightning anymore. Obediently accept your death. Ru Shui laughed nastily, and his body turned into a bloody afterimage. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of Lin Xian. His 4 arms danced quickly, and a terrifying attack enveloped Lin Xian's entire body. Hong long long. Golden lightning surged out and turned into a lightning beast, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. It's useless. Ru Shui laughed loudly, clenched his fists, and punched the lightning beast, shattering it. Lin Xian frowned, and his eyes gradually became fierce. The next moment, a sword light flashed. Like a graceful swan, it turned into a strange arc in the air. Ru Shui screamed and retreated in horror. This is sword intent. Damn it, you're a sword cultivator. A terrifying sword mark appeared on his chest, almost splitting him in half. Let's end this. Lin Xian's sword intent kept rising. The dragon-shaped mark in his body glowed, and a dragon head roared. Chi! A sword slashed out, as if a dragon's roar was heard. The sword light was extremely fast, and instantly enveloped Ru Shui. Pu. Countless sword lights appeared in all directions, sharp to the extreme. 3 of Ru Shui's 4 arms were broken, and his chest was hit again. No, I don't want to die. Blood demon body disintegration technique. Ru Shui shouted in horror. The blood demon exploded, forming thousands of bloodlines that rushed in all directions. Many of them drilled into the ground and stone walls, disappearing. Lin Xian did not attack again. That sword strike had severely injured Ru Shui, and he would not be able to fight for at least half a year. He put away his long sword and continued to walk forward. At that moment, there was a sudden sound of something breaking through the air behind him. Lin Xian stopped and turned around. Whoosh! Whoosh! 2 figures landed. It was Zhang Ruyue and the short old man. The short old man looked at the sword marks around him and felt the remaining aura in the air. He said in a deep voice, "What a sharp sword intent." Humph, big liar. Zhang Ruyue snorted. "I'm not a liar." Lin Xian touched his chin and said with a smile, "I didn't expect you to be a sword cultivator. The younger generation will surpass us in time." The short old man looked at Lin Xian and praised. "You flatter me." Lin Xian smiled. "It's dangerous ahead. Why don't we go together?" He could see that the short old man had no ill intentions. Lin Xian also felt that Zhang Ruyue's identity was not simple. After all, not everyone could take out a handful of spirit fruits to feed a monkey. All right. The short old man smiled. On the other hand, Zhang Ruyue pouted angrily with an unhappy look on her face. The 3 of them moved forward quickly and finally reached the end. There was a thick wall in front of them, blocking their way. It's a dead end? The short old man was surprised. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He observed carefully and found that the wall was unusually thick. Whoosh! He picked up the little white monkey and pinched its face with his fingers. There's no way out. What should we do? The snow-white monkey's face was distorted. It grunted in dissatisfaction and jumped into Zhang Ruyue's arms. Wooji wooji. The monkey gestured. What did it say? Zhang Ruyue asked as she hugged the monkey. It said it's behind this wall. Lin Xian shrugged. Following that, the 3 of them began to search carefully. The short old man and Lin Xian even began to bombard the wall. However, they didn't dare use too much strength. If the tunnel was destroyed, they would be doomed. Could there be a trap? Lin Xian was puzzled. There aren't any traps. Let's go around it, Lord Alcohol said with a voice transmission. Go around it? Lin Xian was puzzled. You know about earth rats, right? Lord Alcohol didn't elaborate. Lin Xian's mouth twitched as he smiled bitterly. Guys, why don't we dig a hole? In the other 2 tunnels, everyone was attacked by underground creatures. The tunnel on the left had countless fire lizards, while the one on the right had fire scorpions. After all the calculations, Lin Xian's tunnel was the safest. However, the The warriors on both sides charged out of the tunnel after a bloody battle. A vast underground world appeared in front of them. There were magma ravines and jagged rocks. From time to time, heat waves would surge out. In the middle was a gigantic magma that constantly bubbled and emitted scorching heat. And in the middle of the magma was a boulder with a fiery red plant growing on it. On top of it, there was a fist-sized spirit fruit that was emitting a colorful glow. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.